Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe and from the universe. And I hope this finds everyone as well as possible. These are crazy times we live in. Yeah, we do. And oh, goodness gracious, that's weird. Hang on a sec. Weird things going on in the universe and weird things going on in the house. Just just weird stuff going on. Hey, Miss Chloe Darumska. Good morning. How are you all? And I hope this finds you all as well as possible. And it is morning time here in South Georgia. So even though it's cloudy, but the stars are out pretty clear. R is that RTY right? And what does that mean? Witch Moon, how are you? Oh, Witch Moon, let me say this about operations. I can tell that the operation that I had on my back has gotten better, but I'm still having a lot of back pain from the operation. So is that the operation corrected some stuff, but it also created some stuff like muscle pain and actual bone pain, not related to the nerve pain. So I traded one pain for another. It seems at this point. But at the same time, when I've showed this to some other folks, they go, my God, that is a huge um, incision. So my operation was, pretty drastic in the area that it covered. So I wouldn't discount back surgery because people have complications. And I will say that in because it's the type of back surgery that you get because it has the surgery that they did has alleviated some of my nerve pain. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't a total loss or whatever, but at the same time, there are other things that go with it. So, but anyway, anybody that has back pain, we have to endure it. I think it's just part of the animal of the thing, and depending on, I'm not. Um, I don't regret having the surgery. I just don't because I knew how bad my situation was. So, you know, I don't want people to say, well, oh, Dave had, issues and complications. Yeah, but not everybody had to have two operations in, in a week. And other issues that I've had. But at the same time, I'm still sitting here and I'm still getting around. And the pain has moved to a different direction. So, but anyway, but in that discussion there in the last 2 or 3 minutes of back pain is also part of the topic for tonight is to take back your power. And I was allowing the back pain to control what I could or could not do. Now I still can't walk long distances, but oh, my back hurts. I can't go outside. Well, you need to get up and go outside, Dave. You need to go out and walk around a little bit, and don't just go back in and sit back down because it hurts. You know, um, can I walk to the top of the driveway and get my mail? Well, maybe not. Hey, Mark the Spark, Ark Spark, how are you? And but in this, it gets complicated in that I've lost my own power because of pain. You know, I've lost the power to go to the bathroom and without, oh, I hurt so bad, and oh, I can't go out and do this because I hurt too bad. Well, there are certain things that I can't do, but then I lost my power in that, oh, because of the pain, I can't do anything. And that's just not true. So I am in the process of taking back my power. And what I have understood with myself is that, yeah, it hurts really bad to go walking around the yard, but I need to go. Duggar needs to go and walk with me. I need to go because it still gives, I got to push through whatever discomfort I might be having. And maybe it's because I have been sitting in one position, for so long that that's the reason I am hurting. So, but you have to understand there's something in my upstairs, and the mice have been going crazy. I mean, to the point of just running out between my legs and, running across my feet and stuff, little buggers, and I can't catch them. All my pains went away with supplements like MSM. Yeah, well, I know why I have my pain is because, I got an 8.5 inch scar on my back and I had major, surgery. But it doesn't mean, and I just turned on my heating pad right here. That's what this white thing is right here is this giant heating pad that I bought. And I just turned it on. But as bad as my back was, with my lumbar all fused together, my situation is a lot different than a lot of other people. It just is and was and so forth. So I opted for the operation. Now, I might regret it, in the future, but I don't regret it now. Mice be running the place now. Yeah, honest to God, they're upstairs. I got a stack of cigarettes, right? And there's this little spot up there in the loft, and this one cigarette pack was almost pushed off. And it's like, what the hell? They were all pushed back and in a nice, even little, column. And when I just got a pack, what the top pack was all halfway pushed off. And I'm like, what? There's somebody up there's running around. And then something just a few minutes ago threw something off the back here. The dead gum mice. Mice better than rats because rats are really destructive. And I had a rat problem a few years back, but now I've got a mouse kind of, um, and I've tried 3 or 4 different kinds of traps. You put smear something on them, they snack them, black them, and I've tried poisons, and they go in a little house and eat it. The what do you call it? Anyway, but nothing has worked on these little buggers. They're smart little critters. I'm raising some smart ass mice. Next thing you know, there'll be a rocket ship to the moon or something. I wish they'd go outside and clean up, but I can't get them to do what I want to do. But anyway, yeah, rocket ship to the moon. Little mice playing and that'll be a trip. Maybe I can get it on film, during a live stream. The mice all get together and there's a rocket ship that goes up. That would be intriguing, all better than cockroaches. I do have some of them because I live right next to the swamp, but not near as bad as some people who live in the city. I mean, I expect to have roaches. And they're not just crawling around everywhere, although in the middle of summer they have a tendency to, we have the flying kind and they can get across the room in like less than 2 seconds. Yeah, but the cats just kind of look at him and go, well, that's interesting. They don't really like chase them, but they'll chase down a squirrel. There's a dead squirrel outside, all that's left is the tail. And you can tell it's a squirrel because all that's left is the tail. But yeah, I had cats in the house before, and they just like, oh, there's a mouse over there. Yeah. So what? No, dude, there's a mouse over there. He's sitting there. I can see him. Go get him. And they look at me like, you know. And so cats have not been very helpful with the endeavor. And tonight I was sitting here during the live stream with Robert, and there's a mouse that had crawled up onto the table right next to me over here and had crawled up and looking around. I was like, in the middle of a line, there's you crazy mouse. What is up with you guys? Talk about getting bold, you know. And it's not like I have food laying out or anything like that, you know, but because they're always chewing into the back of something. And that's what I hate about them. They'll destroy something, and you look, and I'm looking up in the cabinet, and there's a box of whatever, and oh, it's okay. Then you grab it and you pull it out, and the contents come out a hole that's about this big around in the back of the box, and you find that half of the box has been eaten by this critter. You know, no wonder they're fat and sassy. You know, there's this box up in the cabinet in the kitchen that I don't take down all the time, and there's a hole in it, and that's where they're feeding. Well, you know, so you move that box and you put some poison or something there, and they ignore it and find another box and chew into it, and off they go. So, you know, that's me and the mice situation for the last year and a half to 2 years now. Probably longer than that, but my memory goes. Except for the poop. You know, they will go outside and poop because they are outside cats. Um, that if you have an indoor cat, he'll find some place to poop. An outdoor cat that needs to poop will literally try to claw their way through a window or something to get outside. And cats give a crap. I'm assuming that's what you meant, right? The Romsk. But so anyway, taking your power back. So let me give some examples. There are some people who have lost their power of themselves and say, well, what do you mean, Hawkeye? Well, my last wife, for example, had this way of just demeaning me and speaking down to me, and she was that kind of person. So for the first two going on 3 years, it just always pissed me off no matter what. And so, and I was like, you know, why do you treat me this way? And blah, 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 blah. And then I reached this point where it was like, Dave, you're better than this. And it was like, well, what do you mean better than? I'm not in competition with my wife, but she is. So when it dawned on me that she was playing these mind tricks with me, and that she actually was the one who was inferior, trying to feel more prestigious herself by belittling me at every chance she got, which was all the time. And so I had lost my power in that, hey, Miss Pearl, how are you? I need to take my power back. I admit it. Yep. So, um, with this understanding, it was like because I gave in to her. I gave in to her, and I didn't. It wasn't so much that I had to speak up every time and having to stand my ground, which is the way I was looking at it. And so when I started having the ride-alongs with White Dove, the spirit energy that taught me a lot, it was like she was like, ignore it. And I was like, but she's literally in my face and putting me down and stuff. And she was like, yeah, just ignore it. Yeah, but she's screaming at me and she's right in my face. And I don't have to put up with this. And it was like, but ignore it. So I was like, this is never going to work to ignore it, to ignore the behavior. Oh my God, she's cursing at me and calling me names, and I got to stand up for myself. And White Dove said, no, you need to ignore it. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll try your funky gizmo of ignoring it, right? So the first time it was really difficult. And I was looking at her and she was screaming at me and something, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, all right, sorry you feel that way. Blah, 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 and cuss you out. And yeah, and then, but okay, all right. And then I realized that at the end of it, because I had not overreacted to her screaming and hollering, that she kind of like looked at me with a puzzled look and shut up and turned around and walked away. And I was like, wow, she gave up quick. Maybe there's something to this ignoring it, right? Because I had only said, yeah, okay. And yeah, you're probably right. And, gave these rather than trying to fight with her or to stand my ground. She was very upset with the fact that I did not. And so the more I ignored her behavior, like, well, okay, and nonchalant, and blah, 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 okay. And then there were times when I just didn't say a word. And she'd rant and rave and scream, and I'd just nod my head or shake my head, or just stand there and I'd fold my arms and not give any kind of like disgruntled look or mean look, or just kind of like a nothing look, a neutral look, right? And within a week, she was so pissed off at me because I didn't do anything. I didn't react to her anger or to her plights with me. And I took my power back. And she was not happy. And it was not an argument. I did not argue with her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't state my opinion because guess what? None of it mattered to her. What I realized was in trying to stand up and say, well, but that's not true, and blah, 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 blah. She, a narcissist, okie doke, very much. But to the point, though, there are people who do that, who will do that to you to try to rise a thing and to try to get you to overreact or to try to react, maybe. And one of the things that, in looking at people and especially listening to them, there are those people that you listen to that you go, no, not that one. Not that one. You see that one over there? Not them. Boy or girl, man or woman, bipolar, whatever thingy that, or no, that's not bipolar. It's anyway, non binary. There you go. Or I'm binary. What is a binary? Never mind. Well, and that's something that I'm going to discuss too is that we as a nation and as a population have lost our collective power because of this, non binary. I'm a what's it, I'm a they or a them, and I'm a girl who wants to be a boy, and because I'm a boy, men can have children. And oh my God. But, so anyway, but with the simple thing, though, that when people try to argue with you have to understand who the person is that you're arguing with. And that sometimes there are people that you argue with, no matter what you say, they're not going to listen to you. No matter what comments you make, they're not going to listen to you because in their own little warped or twisted mind, let's just say twisted, not necessarily warped, although some of these people I've heard these last couple of months they're warped in the head. I don't know where they get this stuff from, literally. So I think they've been, abducted by aliens, or maybe they are aliens and they're down here to, create a stir. But so what we need to do by taking our power back is simply by saying, no, sorry. We don't have to jump up and down and get angry because that's what they want. So if we don't overreact, we have taken our power back. Like you want to be an ex millennial that's a non-binary them. Okay, well, we can have children, it's like, okay. And because I I've got female parts and I declare myself a man, therefore men can have children. Okay, but because we will never see it from their point of view. And because they have this warped sense of viewpoint, they're never going to listen to us. So, how do we take our power back? We realize that they're just a bunch of crazies. And no matter what we say or do, they're not going to come down off of their thingy. They're not going to, because they're not going to listen to it, us. They're not going to listen to us collectively. Now, just watch the situation and you say, oh my God, we as a collective, we're going down the tubes. Well, as a collective, we sort of are because we have lost our power to say, nah, no, sorry. So there are too many people who are encouraging it when we ought to just say, listen, sorry. There was a cartoon I was watching, and it was a boy who, decided that he didn't like this other little girl in the party, and he liked the boy in the party. And they were all like, oh, what? So these two boys kiss in this cartoon. Like, what? Even the boys and the girls ain't kissing, but the two boys in this cartoon are kissing. Oh, well, don't get hurt. And oh, I love you. And oh, and I'm like, okay. So, but did that make the cartoon bad? Or is the whole time? But I was thinking that they really spent a lot of time in this cartoon, and it's a popular one, I think, on Netflix. And I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but here are these two people who are kissing. Are you friends with Jonah of I Can't Watch You This? Motuous layer? What? What is that? Are you friends with Joanna of Woo? Be nice. I don't know what you're talking about, but no, I'm not friends with Joanna of Woo. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Letting go of attachments is taking back your power too. Absolutely. So, Rick and Morty, season 6. Oh, I have not seen that, and maybe I should. Oh, my Hulu subscription is gone. I'll have to redo it. But anyway, um, but so I don't care what these people do. I really don't. Like I've stated before, I have gay relatives and family members and so forth, and it's like don't care. I really don't. Um, and way back before, while I was still a teenager, I was raped by a man, and also kind of, sort of, halfway raped, but not. But I was given a Mickey, you know. And so I woke up in bed with a man the next day, kind of thing, and was like, hmm. But no, not for me. I'm not gay, Nope, sorry, somebody playing with you and giving you and arousing you, just because it feels good doesn't necessarily mean you're gay, you know. And sorry that it feels good down there, but no, we're not gay. You know, would much rather have a woman do that, please. But at the same time, this idea though that this thing with the they or the them, and it just sounds so stupid. I mean, if you want to be called that, okay, but it just seems stupid to me. I'm not saying you're stupid, but I'm saying my understanding of it in my brain is stupid. I don't get it. So these people who want to be called a they or a them are not going to understand my point of view, period. No matter how nice I am to them, no matter how much I try to express, like, this doesn't make sense to me. They're just, all they're going to do is become angry and call me a white supremacist and a racist because that's what's stuck in their head. And what's stuck in my head is that I don't understand you. I don't understand the pronouns. I don't understand why you got to go there. I don't understand. But because I don't understand and they're not going to listen, then therefore I am automatically emitting negative, what was the statement? Violent behavior. And because I'm white, I've obviously, the white supremacist kind of thing. And it's like, but I just said I don't understand. I'm sorry. You don't get me, but I don't get you. So why are you hollering at me and why are you condemning me and why are you calling me names when I haven't called you anything? Because I don't understand what to call you, you know? So, man, these mice are active tonight. Man, oh man, they're literally all over the place, up on over there and running around, and man, they are active tonight. So, but anyway, so our society we're in this state of, wait a minute, my brain says I don't agree with this. And my brain doesn't agree with it because most of us don't understand. And for the people that I've seen who try to do the interviewing of they and them are, automatically they don't have a chance because the people who are them and they are so stuck in their own illusion of what they claim to be or are that they refuse to look or listen at our questions or why we don't understand. Well, because you're a white racist, you're promoting violence because you don't understand us. I'm not promoting violence, but you are. And listening to some of these people, it's like there's violence in their voice and there's nonviolence in the people who are asking the questions. Okay. So the interviewer is like, but I don't understand this. How do you make this statement? Well, you're a white racist and you're supporting violence against me because you're saying these things. Violence towards me because I don't understand your weird sense of whatever. Oh, because they said that now I'm one of them who is pushing against they or them. No, you're not listening. I don't fucking understand you. Listen to me. What I think you're doing does not make sense. Okay? You're pushing violence and no, I'm not. I don't understand. So, therefore, by not understanding, we have become sheepish and scared and afraid, scared and afraid, afraid to say something, and we're scared we're going to hurt somebody's feelings or somebody's going to call us a name. Well, we need to take that power back, and we need to do it with kindness. We need to just look at these people and say, I'm very sorry, but I don't understand. And, your abusive, violent words towards me is offensive. And therefore, I'm just not going to speak to you. But, and I'm a this and I'm a them and I'm a they and there's a there and there's a them and I'm a non binary something, something. Okie dokie, have fun. Have a nice day. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I don't understand you and I'm not going to argue. Have a nice day, you know, and not make it an issue. Because the more we make it an issue, the more it's going to be an issue. And, in days of old, when knights were bold, they would have taken some of these people and lopped off their heads and stuck their heads on a pike and said, "You see these people? These were a bunch of weirdos, and we don't take kindly to that. Weirdos are not allowed in the kingdom. Okay, they just ain't." And here's their heads to prove it, or maybe their whole bodies were, rammed with a spike, or okie dokie. So maybe they like that sort of thing up their bunghole for a minute or two, maybe. But anyway, so this understanding, we don't understand them. We don't. And we're not going to. So why argue about it? Literally, they're going to have to see their mistake, if it were, on their own. But now we take our power back because we don't allow them to infect the whole country. We say, "No, go do your thing over there. You're a transgender and you're swimming against all these girls. Sorry, you're in a different class. Sorry, ma'am, sir, you're in a different class. You cannot compete with all woman sports. Do you have a ding dong? Can't race. Not with these ladies who don't have a ding dong. Sorry, um, you're not going to race. Biological women only, not theoretical women. Sorry." And we need to stand up and support our women. And we take our courage back. We take our own, how do we feel good about America again? Because we are going to stand up behind the women of this nation and say no to this weird stuff. No, it's a women's sport. Not I changed to a woman's sport. That's another category. You can be that all you want, but this is a women's sport, a biological women's sport. No offense to any of you who want to change, but you're not a biological woman. That's all. No arguments, no jump up and down. Drop your drawers. Ding dong, yes or no. Period. Ding dong, yes or no. You know. Yep. Well, sorry, you fit in this category, you know, and you don't fit in this one. Now, we don't have to make all the women drop their drawers, but here's a guy who says he's a woman and is now wanting to compete. So now you have to ask the question, oh, so you want to compete now in the woman's sport? Drop your drawers. Ding dong, yes or no? Well, he's got one. Well, then you can't compete. I'm sorry. This is a biological woman's sport only. Now, you want to hack that thing off? We might reconsider, but probably not. Because anybody that would whack their thing off on purpose, or, and I was getting in an argument with somebody, and it was like it was useless. These biological men who want to become women want to understand what it's like to have a period. So they take things to give them cramps. In other words, they'll take a bunch of laxatives, for example, that will give them stomach cramps. And so that they can feel what it's like to menstruate. Really? We should not encourage this behavior. But if there's a certain group that really want to do that, we should ignore them and go, okay, well, I'm having my period. Okay. You took too many laxatives again, right, John? Well, wait a minute. What are you talking about? My name's not John, it's Joanna. Okay, Joanna, you took too many laxatives again. Oh, well, yes. Well, I as a woman want to feel those cramps. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. If you keep doing that, you're going to shit your guts out. and then you're really going to be sick, and then you're going to die. But go ahead. I understand your right to do that, but I'm just going to ignore your behavior because it's silly. You know, have a nice day. Bye. You know, oh, but I'm having cramps. Okay. Oh, but I feel sick. Okay. Oh, but I'm feeling, nauseous as a woman. Okay. Then go back to being a man, you dumbass. You know, okay. But, we should not glorify this behavior. And the more the news is glorifying it, the more it's becoming an issue. And the more it becomes an issue, the more people come out to say, "Look at me. I want you to agree with my behavior." Well, I agree if that's what you want to do. Okie dokie. I have known people that love to get whipped. I mean, they love it. Tie me up and beat me. They love it. Okay. Now they have safe words and things, and and when enough is enough, but they love to get tied up to the cross thingy and get whooped. There it turns them on. Okay. One would say they're not into kinky stuff. And there are certain kinky things like certain types of pain they don't agree with that draws blood or something like that. Whelps are accepted, raised spots from, getting whooped. But, like piercings and jabbings and stuff, nope, they're not into that. But, flogging, oh my God, with a cat of nine tails, oh my God, they just go off. But these people have normal jobs in society, but they come home and whip each other, man and wife kind of thing. And so it's like, but wait a minute, but these people are odd. Yeah, but they still function within society, and they don't. If you want to come over and join in or just watch, if that's your, preference, but, they don't encourage it with other people. If you want to try it, okay. Or if you have this propensity, okay, but we're not trying to recruit you. So, but these other folks are trying to recruit us. The Mulvaney guy, right? He's trying to recruit because he's talking to you kids out there and you boys and girls out there. And, he's recruiting, and that's wrong. But this couple that I knew, I don't know if they're still alive because it's been a bunch of years ago. But but as far as they were do no harm, but they love to flog each other. Hey Joe. So yeah, they multiply fast. Yeah, it started out as one and others three of them. Hey Mark DeRoach. Common sense is broken at many. I agree. I'm gonna say Mama Sir from now on. That's funny. That's nothing like a period. Yeah, right. So and but to think that they have in their minds they want to experience that. You want to experience throwing blood out your system? You don't have a vagina, number one, or or any of the uterus or anything like that for that to actually happen. So how can crapping blood out your butt be the same thing? Just saying. But anyway, that, oh, I have to experience that. Really? Wow, that's just, wow, you need to go seek some help. I'm just saying. Are you sure? Well, I want to be a woman and I want to be, well, I've known men who, are more women than some women. And I've known some women who are more men than men. But with that said, I have not seen the men that I've known who were transgender or, like to dress up. They weren't necessarily women, but they loved to dress up, right? And then there was the sure enough dress up, I'm a woman kind of person that I have known, several of them over the years, but they never wanted to, to experience a menstruational thing. So, we agree to let them do what they want to do, but we draw the line and say, no, It's not common. Nope, we're not going to make this a common thing. We're not going to agree to allow this behavior to become common. You know, we're going to take our power back and say no to that. Now, there are other instances with relationships. There are relationships at work between co-workers and stuff. There is sometimes the boss who belittles, he has to belittle, um, some of the workers. And if you take the belittlement, it will continue. So it's like if you're being picked on, you know, um, and I used to get picked on. So I realized that that when you go along with the joke, when whoever's picking on you, you just go, that's funny, Wow, I just never would have, and you don't react opposite to it. When you take the fun out of the joke, when you become the joke yourself and allow the joke to happen, or allow the thing and go, wow, you got me again, ain't that, then all of a sudden you just took the fun out of it by the bully. So when you react to the bullying with sadness or crying or he's doing it again or anger or something like that, then the bully has won. But when you just go, look, man, whatever you're trying, it just don't work. So, blah blah blah. Oh, okay, you're trying to, you don't make it, you don't be aggressive towards them because that's what they want. If you're aggressive back, well, I'm standing up for my rights. Okay, you have that privilege and it is your right to stand up for your rights. But at the same time, standing up to him might just make the bully punch your lights out, makes him want to fight because you're standing up. So by standing up quietly in your own head, like, yeah, okay. When you don't overreact or there is no reaction, then the bully's got no arm, it's got no ammunition. When you present your own personal armor and in your own mind, you know where you stand, then whatever they do, even if it's mildly physical, it ain't nothing. And it doesn't mean you got to be a pansy about it. You acknowledge, you're like, look, I know you're trying to get me upset, but it's just not going to work. You know, okay, Joe, you've been picking on me now for months now, and I'm sorry, it's just not working. I'm just not, you can pick on me if you want, but it's just not doing any good. And then Joe says, well, I'll pick on you if I want to, and ha ha ha. But after a couple of times, you just standing there going, Joe, this just ain't working. Joe gives up, I think, unless Joe's really persistent. Joe, I'm picking on you, but I'm not. No, I'm not picking on you. I'm just using the name Joe. But anyway, so hi Joe, how you doing? Seriously. But anyway, so this idea that whoever is doing the bullying, and what is their motive? You can ask them and say, why do you want to pick on me anyway? Does it make you a big man? Well, if it does, go ahead and pick on me and drop it, let it go, and don't argue with them. Don't make it a big deal, but let the bully know that you know that they're being a bully. But don't continue it, because that's being antagonistic, and then that's going to make them want to bully you more from a different angle. So, but they got to know. Thank you, Joe. Um, but folks have got to know that you know that you can see their behavior, and you have to allow them to know kindly and peacefully that it just ain't bothering you anymore, and then the joke ain't a joke no more. Now it may take a few times, it may take a month, or it could take one time and it just kills the thing. And I have seen it work. I have used it myself. I have given this advice to other people and it has worked for them when actually they ended up becoming friends with the bully. So, because the person stood up and said, "No, man, well, look, man, I was picking on you because, down deep inside, I want you to do a better job. And I don't pick on everybody, but I'll pick on my friends." So then they picked up this lighthearted reputation. It was like, "Hey, bum, what you doing today?" "I don't know, you lazy son of a bitch." And they would cuss at each other in the shop. And people would go, "Oh my God, they're going to be at it." The next thing you know, they're going to be outside throwing wrenches at each other. And the next thing you know, they're going to break together and slapping each other on the back. And the whole thing was just their way of letting off steam. Now, I still know people to this day, a husband and wife team. "Hey, bitch, get me a drink." "Oh, get it yourself, you fat bastard." And then she brings him a drink. But to the point though, they have agreed to this repartee, of picking on each other, and they know it. It's out in the open. But so sometimes somebody might be picking on you when actually they kind of like you, and but you don't know that. But if you don't stand up for yourself and show it out, the person might say, "Well, you know, oh come on, man, my I secretly like you. That's why I'm picking on you. Come on, man, come." And then so get back, and then you pick on them. And maybe that's what they want. They want this banter between people. That's, "Hey, you stupid shit, hey, fuckhead." And I know people like this, and it just sounds contrary, but they're actually good friends. So you never know when you stand up and take your power back that maybe the person who's picking on you is picking on you for a particular reason, not just to piss you off, but to kind of like start a banter or start some kind of something. But it's not really meant mean heartedly, but because you're the one on the receiving end, it seems like it's mean. And maybe there are times when there's a little bit of meanness in there. But you have to learn how to discern it. But if you're all the time, losing your power over these folks, um, and that you're all the time being offended. "Well, that offended me." "Okay." "Well, that offended me." "Okay." "Well, quit being so defensive all the time." "Well, what do you mean? I have the right to stand up for myself." "Yeah, but aren't you just being a mite, you know, defensive?" "Well, what are you talking about? There you go. You're picking on me too." No, people like that, right? Or have known. And it's like, "No, I'm not trying to pick on you, but your defenses are way high." "No, they're not." "Well, see, right there. Yes, they are." "No, they're not. I'm not too defensive. I know my rights, and I know when you're picking on me." Calm the fuck down, will you? You are obviously overreacting, and you're much way too self-defensive. "No, I'm not." Okay, all right. We love you. You know. But they are over defensive. That is when you look at it objectively, yes, they are. So when people are certifiably hyper self-defensive, you can't get to them. They have to allow you to get to them. And the openings are hard to come by with some of these people because they have lost a rationality. So your power is that you stand up to them and say, "Look, I know you're not going to believe me. I'm your friend and I love you, but you're being self-defensive, And I love you, but I just can't take your behavior." And walk away, leave, hang up, whatever it is, and do it with kindness. Well, you're just picking on me too. See, that's what I mean. I'm not picking on you. You're my friend and I love you. And I'm trying to explain to you that, but you think I'm picking on you. So therefore, I can't talk to you anymore because you are this way. You're over self defensive. You're hyper self defensive. And when you calm down, call me back and I'll talk to you. And hang up the phone. You know, what? That because they have to realize maybe my dear friend is right. So I'm going to call them back because I do consider them my friend. And maybe in a moment of clarity, they'll think, holy crap, maybe I am hyper self defensive, you know. Um, and then you can creep in and go, see, you're self defensive about this. And, you know, Joe was trying to explain something to you the other day and you called him up and down. And, he was just trying to be nice, but you were over defensive and you thought he was being mean. And, you know, um, listen, Sheila, you got to quit being that way. You got to calm the F down. You got to calm down and realize that, people may say something, but they may be trying to give you a compliment, but your mind is so wrapped up in being self defensive, you don't know when somebody's actually giving you a compliment or when they're actually being mean to you. You don't know the difference anymore. You've lost that, but until this person lets you in to have that conversation with, they're not going to listen to you at all because they're so self defensive. And then there are the people who are so self defensive that they won't talk, that they just shut up, they hang their head and become depressed. Well, this person doesn't like me, and that person doesn't like me. And this person over there hangs out with that person, and that person doesn't like me. So, therefore, because that person doesn't like me, then my so called friend who hangs out with them, they don't like me. And then now there's a conspiracy because three or four people are hanging together and the whole group of them don't like me. Well, maybe you've said something crass or asinine because you think all of these people are against you. Now, I went through a couple of times in my life where I felt this way, and there were a group of people, and some of them were against me. Okay. But in general, they weren't. There was just other people. Okay, Joe, I'm going to use you. All right. So here's Joe, and he's a good guy, right? And I'm going to use the theater. Joe's a director for a show. Okay, and he has known some people within the theater group many for many years. He has worked with them on different shows, and then there are newcomers who come in, right? So the newcomers who have maybe had a theater experience but have not worked with this director or this group of other actors. So then they come in, and so automatically the new folks are going to feel out of place. Now, Joe's a director. Okay. Now, Joe's got this favorite new person. Now, maybe he knows this new person to the theater outside the theater. And they've been friends for a year or so. And he's finally convinced this person to come in. And Joe's going to direct him. Well, now, these other people who have known Joe for a long time, they get a little bit off stage. Well, what's with this new guy or new gal? What's with this new person? How come Joe spends so much time with them? How come they're hitting it off? And so now these people are offended. Now the new people are offended because Joe has taken a liking to one of the new people, and the rest of them don't feel like they're part of the group because Joe's spending more time with Umpty Scrunch over there, right? And so, but now all of a sudden, from the long term friends, they're feeling a little, why is he spending time? And why is they cop an attitude, right? And the new people don't know what to think. So they have copped an attitude because they don't feel part of the collective. They don't feel like part of the team. And here's Umpty Scrunch, who has known Joe, who is now part of the cast, who's getting not necessarily special treatment from Joe, but it seems like it to the rest of the cast. Now, I've had this happen, and I've sat down with it, and I was Joe in that instance. You've had exactly that instance happen. But so the thing is that because there is a lack of communication, because Joe and Umpty Scrunch, they didn't know that they was quote doing anything wrong, and they weren't. It's just from these outside opinions of people looking in that they have formulated these opinions, right? Now, does that mean that Joe don't like his old friends, or does Joe like Umpty Scrunch better? Is Joe, because it seems like he's talking with Umpty Scrunch more, is lessened his opinion with the rest of the cast? No. So if I've had to sit down with cast members and, and assistant directors and pointed at them and go, you guys got to stop this. We are a cast. We are a family right now. And you got to stop this thinking about that he's a this and this is a that. We need to worry about the show. You need to worry about interacting with Chloe, and Joe, you need to learn how to interact with Duromsk. And Durams, you got to break down your attitude against Chloe. And y'all got to just, give up this stuff that whatever you're creating in your heads, stop it, you know? Um, when the show's over, then you can go back to hating each other or whatever. But, so stop it, and sometimes you just have to be crude like that if you're working with a group. But I've seen it too many times, and it's happened with me involved in the situation. And one of the big things is that you have to recognize it. So one of the things in gaining your power back is you have to recognize that you lost something along the way. Now, there are times when I've had to give in to circumstances, like when a director gives me a direction, or somebody wants a something, or they want to, they want a stage to look at a certain way or something, and I will go along with their suggestions when I think it's stupid, but that it has to get to a point where they see that what they want is stupid, and then as the prop master, I could go to him and say, I told you that wouldn't work. Now I've got an idea and this is how it will work. Well, okay then. But you have to not prove them wrong, but they have to prove themselves wrong in a situation. So it's like, well, I think yada 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 yada. Okay. So rather than to continue to argue with them, because until they see it or experience it themselves, it's not going to click. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it's not going to click until they taste it, feel it, experience it, whatever it is. And then they go, "Oh, let me back up here." They may not ever apologize, but they'll back up and go, I didn't realize that and something, something. Well, okay then. And they'll just, well, okay then is their apology, right? Well, okay then. And then it just continues on from there. But, if you have in your own mind, not the superiority complex, but there are certain things that you just know that you're correct. You're right. You're right about it. If they're looking for a restaurant and it's 2 blocks down and they're trying to tell somebody, no, it's not 2 blocks down, it's this direction. And and you just say, okay, but the address in the phone number is, 333 Broad Street. And 333 Broad Street is that away. Because we're at 133 Broad Street, and 233, 333 would be that direction, about the middle of the block. Okay. Because that's how they number the buildings and the streets. And no, there's the restaurants down over here. Okay. So you have to let those people be. And the people that agree with Umpty Scrunch over here that the restaurant's this direction, they go that direction. And then later on, they go, Umpty Scrunch told me the restaurant was down there, but you were right. It was down that way. It was down in the middle of the block, just like you said. So sometimes we have to let the people who are interacting with Umpty Scrunch, because they believe him, they have to find out that Umpty Scrunch wasn't necessarily correct all the time. I knew a city councilman in Thomasville years ago, and he was like that. And people was just like, but he's a city councilman. He knows everything. He's a smart guy. When actually, I was just this, who are you, come out of the woods kind of person. Why should I believe you? Why should I trust you? He's a city councilman. Well, then later on, there were some folks that were, he was dead ass wrong. And you were right about that. And some of it was just like common sense stuff, But they'd come back to me and go, "You were right about that, Dave." And, he really was. And he really didn't know what he was talking about, and blah, blah, blah. So, but anyway, there are times when it's just best for you to just shut up for your own good. Well, this person's right. He's a city councilman and he knows, you know, yeah, well, then later on, you can discuss it with other people and go, I don't think he's correct about this because this and this and this and this, but, that's my humble opinion. And so you can be sure in your own mind that he's an idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about. But trying to prove that he's an idiot or jumping up and down, it depends on the situation. But, sometimes jumping up and down and trying to prove that they're an idiot makes you the idiot. You end up being the scapegoat. So it's best if you quietly work silently on the sides, if you will, and he'll prove himself wrong sometimes. But so anyway, in this, if you know in your mind that you're right, then you have taken your power back. And if you are in control of the situation and say, well, okay, like this one director that swore that this thing would happen and could work this way, and when it didn't, they were like, so I couldn't go up and go, I told you so. I told you that wouldn't work. But I did go up and say, when we talked, I expressed my opinion that I didn't think this was going to work. And I'm sorry it didn't, and apologize when it ain't none of your, because, and then you take the offensive and you go, but I've got this here that I think that I know will work, and I think will make what you want. You can work around it. Okay, so now you have won the argument without beating them up and without screaming in their face. I told you so. And I have done that. I told you so. I told you it wouldn't freaking work, and you wouldn't listen to me. I used to do it that way. And then I changed. And what changes is the director is now listening to you because you're not screaming. You're not in this offensive. Well, I tell you, it's not going to work, and I can understand what you're talking about, but it's not going to work. If it swings this way, it's going to hit it's not going to work. And so that's how I used to look at it. But then I said, wait a minute, let him see that it won't work. I know it's going to be extra work for me, but let me show them it's not going to work, and then give them the alternative that does work, because we have done this before. We've built sets before. We know this will work. Now, whether the director will accept it, blah blah blah. But what it does for the people around, they go, Dave told the director back 3 weeks ago that it probably wouldn't work, and we've been trying to make it work and it hadn't worked, and now here's Dave. He didn't argue with him, but he presented something that did work. And so you gain respect by not overreacting. You gain the respect of other people because they see you, and they see you because you have control of yourself. They see you because you have taken back your power. They see you and they go, oh, He didn't have to put up a fight. He just showed them. Wow, ain't that interesting? So there are ways to get your point across. Sometimes it takes a little longer. You have to present certain points of view on your side. It's like, these people that go to city council meetings and blow up at the city council meeting. And the city council members are not listening there because you just don't, somebody who's ranting and raving, it's hard to listen. So you present something, and then the next meeting you present something else, and the next meeting you present something else, and the next meeting you present something else, and other people go with it. The first time it's only you, the next time it's you and somebody else, the next time it's you and 10 people, the next time it's you and 20 people. And but rather than trying to make a big thing at the beginning, you state your case and then you go back and you reemphasize and you hit them every single meeting, every single time you bring it up. And you don't bring it up with screaming and hollering, but you bring it up with enough force and with enough conviction that, hey, this is not acceptable. Student council meeting, or I mean, not student council, but, school board meeting or something. So screaming and hollering really doesn't work. You don't, all that you do is you get the attention of their ire. You piss them off. You get the sergeant at arm and the policeman over in the corner ready to pull you their weapon and shoot your ass. So you need to be careful. But at the same time, by acting in a calmer way and presenting facts, you have shown the council members and the audience or whoever, but you have control. As soon as you start screaming and hollering, you have lost control, you see. So by taking back your power, it doesn't mean that now I'm going to stand up and scream and holler. That means you're going to stand up and present your ideas in a constructive manner. What? That's taking back your power. Yeah, but what about the screaming and hollering? That's taking back my power. No, that's showing people that you have lost your power because you're screaming and hollering. Now, if you're screaming, hey, there's an alligator, get out of the pool, that's different, right? But if you're hollering at a politician because he's a dumbass, you ain't going to win that one, because you're hollering. So, and you might not win the argument if you're sitting down and speaking calmly, but you got a better opportunity of doing that when you have honest to goodness discord and conversation. Okay. So you take back your power. Maybe it's a husband or a sibling or somebody, and you're always used to arguing. As soon as you come in the house, there's that dumbass again, and you dipshit, and so automatically there's friction. So, but if you go, well, there's that dumbass again, you go, hi, yeah, dumbass is here. What? So that diffuses the situation by not reacting in a, yeah, dumbass, I'm here, you stupid shit. So you don't, unless that's your banter, you know what I mean? But so you start by diffusing people yelling at you by not overreacting. And then by diffusing that, then you ask if you can, hey, hey, Joe, you mind if we just have I got a question or two I want to ask you over here. Just, if you got a minute. Well, what do you want? Well, I just want to ask you a question. Well, ask me right here. Well, no, I'd rather just step over here to the side and where it's a little more quiet, and I just got a question or two I want to ask you, and be very polite and whatever, and then ask the questions. But how do you really feel about this? Have you talked to the people in your district about this new program that you're implying that is good for all of us? How many people have you asked? Maybe we should have a town hall meeting with just the people in this neighborhood, because there's people in this neighborhood who are really pissed off. And, there's some of them that'd like to take and whoop your ass. So, um, but I'm just asking myself, how do you feel about that? And would you have conversation with these people? And would you actually listen? So so what, then I'm just thinking of a thing that came up years ago with county commissioners and my particular councilman person, and they were a real dickhead in the end, but and I at least had the conversation, and by having the conversation with him, I realized how much of a dickhead he was, and I was like, well, this is the wrong approach, and all of us who are on this little committee that he appointed, by the way, he's not going to listen to any of us because this guy's a dickhead, and we had this little conversation between this little group of 7 or 8 of us, and it was like, and one woman pointed out, he's a dickhead, right? Oh yeah, well, so when we all agreed that he was a dickhead, then it was like, now what do we do? It changed our opinions. It changed our tactics. We took our power back because simply the fact that we realized that this councilman was a dickhead, and that anything that we tried or whatever, that we were just sort of, spinning our wheels. So we sat down and put our collective thoughts together and came at it from a totally different angle. And we were mildly successful, but because he was such a dickhead, we lost the argument. But anyway, but we still was able to get our point across, and we got rid of him from our district. So he was no longer our district councilman. We didn't vote for him. So we took care of that. Ha ha, you won't listen to us? Okay, we voted him out. So there are ways to take care of things. But sometimes, like, it took 2 years to vote him out. Okay, we had to put up with him for 2 more years. But at that point, though, there were enough of us that got together and we all realized that's a dickhead and we're not going to have him in our district anymore. Bye. And out he went. So then the citizens of Colquitt County elected him by at large to be the head councilman, the master of ceremonies, if you will, for the whole county. And we in our district shook our heads and went, don't y'all know that he's a dickhead? And, it took 2 terms, but we finally voted him out as well, but from any public office, but it took a little while. But, even on local levels, there are people who are dickheads, and that's all that they are. And they won't look past it. And like for me, I'm this guy that lives down in the swamp, and who am I? And I didn't go to any great schools or anything, but I have produced, in Moultrie, five plays, major plays that went on in the auditorium. In Thomasville, was in, oh God, 25 different plays or more at least. I've been in 80 productions in my lifetime, not counting puppets and stuff like that, but I mean on stage. And not bragging, just fact. I was in 3 or 4 shows a year there for 5 or 6 years in a row. So, building sets and director and being in shows, you know, so there are people who claim that I don't know what I'm doing. He's just some kind of weirdo. He hasn't been to school for nothing. But then, how can I have put on major plays within the 2 communities, Moultrie and Thomasville, within 2 communities for not knowing anything? He's just somebody, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, I proved my knowledge base. I proved that I can put on major productions and be successful, you know, in Moultrie and in Thomasville, 2 different, distinctly different kind of clientels. But at the end of it all, one of the persons that I would had been in a couple of plays with, and had been, with his son in a play also, he ended up becoming mayor of Moultrie. And I went and had a conversation, and I was like, "Hi, Pete, how you doing?" Blah blah blah, and he was like, "Why are you calling me by first name?" Well, isn't your name Pete? Well, yeah. Well, we were in shows together, and I called him Pete because I was the director, and he was a year or two older than me. But now that he's mayor, he's somehow, "Hey, Diane, how you doing?" And a great big hug back at you. But now that he's mayor, he's somehow more superior. No, he ain't. He ain't any smarter than me. Now, he might have a little bit more experience with dealing with large numbers and budgets and stuff like that. But I've had dealings with budgets and things also, just not to the scale he has. But I can ask questions. Holding on an Xbox controller. Yeah, I got someone on the line, so to speak. But you said I gotta go take care of something then. Chloe, how did you know I had a gun in my hand? Another Man, lyrics to the song. Totally missed that reference. Anyway, so but with this understanding or not understanding, having control of your own energy, and that's one of the things that there are some people who are, I guess, are narcissistic, I guess, or self-centered or whatever. Their opinions are always right, and no matter what you say, they're going to be right. No matter what you do, or they're always right. Well, I don't care, but I know I was right, and I know this, and it's hard to get to them people. And the best thing you can do with them people is ignore them. You know, you have conversation, and they go, "Well, I just know," and you just let them go. Just let them go. Just let them go. Because any argument or any bring it up, um, the earth is flat. You knew that, don't you? And you can pull off the edge. Okay, psst, let them go. Let them go. Because it ain't gonna do no good to argue. Let them go. Now there is the person who says, I heard somebody and they had a really good argument that the earth was flat. And then they talk about this and the horizon, and that's just really strange. And they had a couple of good points, but well, all right, Joe, do you believe that the Earth is flat? No, but they had some good points, and I did scratch my head at a couple of them, but now I think the Earth is round. But so there's the conversation that you can have where somebody is absolutely, undeniably, the Earth is flat, and there ain't going to be no conversations that's going to change their mind because they've made up their mind. And then there's the person who has thought about it, who's tossed around the idea, who's listened to some other people. Those people you can have a conversation with, and and state a couple of certain facts and things, and you can agree with them on a couple of things. Yeah, that is a peculiar for looking off in the distance, and if it was a sphere, how come you can see these many miles and it's flat? Well, maybe there's just some really flat spots on the earth. Doesn't mean that the whole place is flat. But anyway, so, but there can be excuses or comments. Hey, Steve, how are you? Man, you got on here late. It's almost 2 o'clock. Well, no, it's 1 o'clock your time, almost, right? 1:43 a.m. So, but in our minds, that for those of us who just don't doubt that the Earth is round, then we're already set and we've already got a mindset. I mean, that's okay. And those people who have changed their minds or don't believe that the earth is round, they're made they've got their mindset. Now, there are people that you can sit down and have a conversation with without screaming and hollering, but you are not going to change my mind from the earth being round. And there's a couple of folks that they have these flat earth meetups around, them folks, you're not going to change their minds. You're just not, because they're trying to gather other people into their fold that the earth really is flat. Okie dokie. So going to their whatevers and arguing against it, they're just going to throw you out, you know? And the same thing if you're having an Earth is round meeting and the flat earthers who are going to jump up and down and no, the Earth is flat and I can prove it because of blah blah blah. It, that they're just going to get thrown out as well. You follow me? So in life, there are times when there are flat earthers and there's nothing you can do to change their mind. And then there are going to be other people who are, and it's not going to be just about flat earth, but there are going to be subjects that the people who are going to have this conversation with are just not going to change their mind. You're just not going to do it, you know? So trying to present any kind of information contrary to their position is just not going to be worth it. So if you go along with them to not create tension or friction, here's a good point. Does that mean that you're giving up your own personal power? And I would say yes, to a point. From the outside, this person who believes, I'm going to use flat earth for the thing. This person, flat earth, okay, you're going to go, okay, do you think the earth is flat? And you just say, I'm not going to argue. Because there's a whole group of these folks that most of them believe flat earth, right? So rather than trying to create conflict with these people, you go along with it. You don't accept it, but you go along with it just to keep from having the argument, you know. Well, Dave, do you believe in the flat earth? Well, I'm not convinced. Well, the earth is flat, Dave. Well, I grew up with the earth being round. So you haven't given in totally, and have you given up your power? No, you've retained your power. You just don't want to spend all your energy on arguing with all these dumb motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I, I cursed. I try not to curse, but some of these people are dumb motherfuckers. I don't know what else to say about them. And it's like, stop it, will you? I mean, you're a dumb motherfucker. Yeah, that's all. Anyway, but but have you given up power? Some would say, yeah, you've given up power because you're going to go along with them. No, you're retaining your power because you don't want to spend it on these dumb motherfuckers over here. You're like, nah, I see them. Well, but aren't you going to stand up? Why? They believe that, pigs can fly. And I know pigs can't fly, but I'm not going to argue with them dumb motherfuckers because pigs can't fly, you know. But they want to believe it, okie dokie. But I'm just, but I'm not going to argue with them. I'm going to go along with them. But does that mean you gave up your power? You see? And the answer is no. You have not given up your power. Now, there are people who will give up their power to go along with something. And, flying pigs ain't necessarily a good example, but, they just, oh, well, I got to go along with it. And if I don't, they're going to kill me. There are those real situations. So I got to go along with them. And I've given in to them. Well, they have lost their own personal power. When, back in the days of the Nazis, there were people who did things for the Nazis, and some of them, were accused of being traitors. And women who had German boyfriends and things, they shaved the women's heads and tattooed them and did some really nasty things, to, here these French girls. And, here they're in the middle of the war and they're trying to survive. So what do? So maybe you do a little prostitution on the side with the bad guys. Well, the good guys ain't got no money, and most of the good looking ones are dead. And I don't want to screw grandpa. So, do I want to be a prostitute? No, but it's war times and they got chocolate and nylons. And so they survive. Have they given up their personal power and gone over to the other side? Well, circumstances have forced them to where maybe the only way they could retain their own personal power was to become a prostitute or have a German boyfriend or whatever. And then when the war's over, had to suffer the consequences of that. But they did the best they could under the circumstances, you know? So we're going to kick these women or these other people. Now, some of them were just downright traitors, okay? Line them up and shoot them. That was a traitor. But I was just trying to survive. Yeah, but you got a lot of other Frenchmen killed because of your stuff. Whereas the women who had German boyfriends, they didn't necessarily turn in anybody or get anybody in trouble, but they were quote working for the enemy. So, but at the same time, the personal inside, did I give up my personal energy? Did I give up my stuff because I had to survive. So I gave in. Or maybe it just looks like I gave in. Maybe I didn't actually give in. I retained my personal power and I used my personal power. And this is what I did. I became a prostitute. I did this, or, so I wouldn't get killed. So I wouldn't get shot by the Nazis, and I survived it. Go ahead, tattoo me, shave my head, but I survived, you know. So who was right and who was wrong in a situation as dire as that? And there were situations where they just said, "Go ahead and shoot me," bang, and that was that. Oh, healing from your nose surgery yesterday. So how is it coming? If given sufficient evidence, I'm willing to change my mind if the has a I agree, Joe. If you've got real shown up evidence, I'm going to keep an open mind. But there are certain things like, I'm sorry, but I just believe that the earth is round. That's all. So no matter what kind of evidence you present to me, it just ain't going to work on me. It just isn't. So there are certain things that my mind's made up, and that's that. And I will tell you politely, I'm sorry, I'm not a flat earther. But Hawkeye, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we can talk about it, but you're not going to change my mind. We can have all kinds of conversation and discussion, but I'm not going to change my mind. I'm just not. So whatever we discuss is going to be fruitless if your intention is to change my mind. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Well, what about this? Well, what about it? Well, what about that? Well, what about it? We can talk about it, but it's not going to change my mind. So there are certain things politically, you're not going to change my mind. But there's certain things about something, you're not going to change my mind. We can still talk about it. I've got an open mind and I'll listen to whatever you might have to say. But deep down inside, you're not going to change my mind. I'm doing well as I haven't taken any pain medicine and the bleeding has stopped. Well, that's good. Did it bleed a lot, Steve? And by the way, I'll take your pain meds for you because my back still is hurting. But it's my back is getting better. It's just a weird how it's getting better, and the pain hasn't really subsided. It has moved. What do you guys say to the saying, "You never marry a prostitute. Once she's for the streets, she's always for the streets." You never marry a prostitute. Once she's for the streets, she's always for the streets. I don't know, Joe. I think that every woman is a prostitute towards men because they use their feminine wiles to get what they want. I've had 4 wives and 3 serious girlfriends, and they all were prostitutes. Because if they wanted something, they was all over you. And if there was something contrary, they closed them legs off and they closed off any kind of whatever, and until you gave in. So ain't that sort of prostitution? If you don't pay me, you ain't getting any. And the women say, well, I'm not a prostitute. Well, then open your legs. We're married. Well, so if you don't agree with me, you ain't getting any. Well, then you're a prostitute. You're a whore because you're using your snatch down there. And if I don't pay it, I can't have none of it. You know, that's prostitution. I'm sorry. You're being a whore about this. And that's probably why I don't have a woman now. Because I was like, aren't we supposed to share and aren't we supposed to do? But there was only one woman in my life that didn't act that way, and she was a true woman in my opinion, because she didn't use her feminine parts against me, you know, or for only for her benefit kind of thing. And it was a miscommunication and a lot of physical distance, like a 3-hour drive one way to go see her. It and old age and things got in the way, but I was sad that that relationship ended because it was a good relationship and it was open. Um, but the circumstances just didn't allow it to continue. But at the same time, all the other women that I've been married to or otherwise dated or serious, they always use their body parts for nope, you ain't getting none until you give in. And I'm sorry, but that in my book is a prostitution of sorts. That's all. So that about if a woman's ever been on the street. Now I had a wife that was an infomaniac. I mean, I didn't know it. Now we went out like jackrabbits, okay? I mean, several times a week, and sometimes 2 or 3 times. Sometimes we'd meet at lunch and be bunny rabbits, and then come home and put the kids to bed and be bunny rabbits some more. We just, both of us were like that. But when I wasn't around or whatever, I didn't know that she was being bunny rabbits with other people, you know? And because she was a bunny rabbit. And so we got divorced. And after we got divorced, we still got together and were bunny rabbits after we were divorced. Um, and so, but then she found another bunny rabbit and got married. And then we almost were still bunny rabbits after that. So even though we were not married, still bunny rabbits. And then she got married, we almost were still bunny rabbits. But to the point, she was a bunny rabbit. You know what I mean? And it seemed like afterwards, there weren't any particular type of men. It was just that if she had a little something and saw something in you, it was bunny rabbit time. That's all there was to it. I mean, drive around the corner and hide in the woods and bunny rabbit and then come back. And a good friend of mine even asked me after we were divorced, is it all right if I can be a bunny rabbit with her? And I was like, go for it. She's a bunny rabbit. And he came back and she goes, yeah, she's a bunny rabbit, all right. So, there are people like that who are bunny rabbits. And, you say, well, I don't think she was ever on the street, but one could say she could have been on the street. And in ways she was because she was soliciting other men, so she could be a bunny rabbit. So I don't know. I don't know. I would hate to say that you could make a general statement about one relationship with a woman and say that all of the women are like that. Although it seems like There are a propensity of women who use their female ways to get what they want. And if that ain't a sort of prostitution, I don't know what is. But anyway, so, but if in your mind you have lost control, if you have given in to a situation, like I gave into the situation after we were divorced, that she's a bunny rabbit. She is a bunny rabbit. And the reason she left you was because she's a bunny rabbit. And where we live down here in this section of the county, she didn't know any men that she could go bunny rabbit with. So she was stuck down here with her nymphomania down in the swamps, and it wasn't no good for her. So she left here because she needed a different area in order to be the bunny rabbit that she was. And it was hard for me to like accept it. Oh, what's wrong with me? And I tried so hard. And then I realized, dude, she's a fucking bunny rabbit. Oh, she really is. So I gained my power back after our divorce and everything with the simple realization that she's a bunny rabbit. Oh, and I gained my power back. I gained my confidence back. I gained me back by just simply realizing she's a bunny rabbit and not being angry or mad or blowed up or anything. Oh my God, she's a bunny rabbit. I mean, without being mean and calling her names. Oh my God, she's a bunny rabbit. Wow. And no offense to me, because she's a bunny rabbit, and bunny rabbits are going to do what bunny rabbits do. What do you guys say to the saying, never marry a prostitute? Oh, I already read that part, didn't I? Oh, but so anyway, um, but not every woman's like that. Although 85% of the women that I've met have used the female body parts as, you know, getting what they want or don't want. So, whether she's actually a prostitute or not, but in my mind, it's kind of hard to, well, if you're selling it for money or selling it for whatever, that's being a prostitute. Well, they might not be on the streets, but they are sure using it for money or whatever. Ain't that the same? So, anyway, moving on to another topic of this. So, taking your power back. There are folks who have lost their power to their children or to their kids or whatever, or grandkids, that the grandkids move in or something, and grandma and grandpa's trying to help. And next thing you know, the grandkids stole all the money and sold all the furniture. And grandma and grandpa are so old and feeble, they don't know what to do. And, they can't stand up and they've lost their power, to their children or grandchildren, well, like physical power, have lost it. And so what do they do and how do they do and what do they do? Well, I don't know in their situation, but you gotta gain your and people lost their power to gurus. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And I almost lost my power a couple of times to some gurus, actually. That's a good one, Joe. But in this understanding of stuff, you give up your power. Now, for me, I've never asked anybody to follow me or hit the like button or anything like that. I'm going to have conversation with you because I want you to make up your own mind. But at the same time, I want to give you a couple of options. Think about this. Are you sure you want to follow this way of thinking? You know, like over the years, I've kind of sort of proved myself right, which, toot my own horn for a minute. But there was this big thing years ago about the sigils. Everything was sigils, but it was coming in from all different sides, and now you don't hear about it anymore. And way back in the beginning, I was telling people, please don't mess with this stuff. It can be dangerous, and watch out. And so that was my 10 cents. Well, at the end of it all, I was right in that people got hurt from some of these sigils and things. So, there are some things that, like, I want to be right about this. Please don't mess with the sigils. Please, pretty please, especially without where do you get proper instruction. But even then, be careful. But so um, have been a couple of other things that I say I was right on. I was more right than the other people who were preaching, you should do this and you should try this, and like witchcraft and crap. Please don't go down that road. Honestly, please do no harm. Think about this before you try it. Why do you want to do it? So I don't know whether or not it's me bringing up the subject, but it seems like some of these things have actually turned into fads, like the sigil thing. And I haven't heard much about it since we discussed it years ago. And I'm not saying that I had any influence over this, but the few people who do listen and hang out with this show, I'm hopefully I may have, influenced a couple of people to stay away from some of this stuff. So, but do I want you to follow me, or hey Katniss, how you doing? Or do everything that I do? No, but I would like for you to stop and think. And so, of all the things I want you to do as quote a guru, because some folks have called me a guru. I've had trouble with the word shaman, um, but that yeah, I do want to influence you to make your own decisions and to think about it, because your life ain't like mine. It may be similar, we might share certain traits, but your life ain't like mine. You don't sit down here on the edge of the swamp like you do, like I do, and you don't have the lifestyle that I do. And it's not right or wrong, but you don't. And I don't have your lifestyle. And we may have a lot of things in common, but our lifestyles are different. But we still think the same way, and we still have the same kind of thought process, but we're not the same people. And that's good. There ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. So, but do I want people to follow me? Well, yeah, in the sense that subscribe to the channel and follow, but I want you to think on your own. I want you to see the world through your eyes and through your experience. And I'm going to describe some of my experiences, and they may be similar to yours, or, maybe even a copy, of the situation. Like, oh my God, there was a friend of mine that recently had a situation happen, and it was almost exactly to the letter of things that happened to me with a relationship years ago and blah 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 blah. And I was like, holy crap, man. It was like an instant replay of mine, but with somebody else. And there's certain, it even involves some children, and it even involved, I was like, man, oh man, that's weird, but it's your family and it's your experience. But it was like 95% the same kind of experience that I had. Wow. But it was yours. Wow, that's weird. So similarities, but not the same. And what was meant for him was not meant for me, but it was very similar to mine. And so, but what he got out of his situation and what I got out of mine was different, but they were similar. So, but anyway, we can have copycat stuff, but it be totally different for how each of us reacts. That's my point in that. So similar things. We were all on the same sinking boat, but I was praying to Allah and you were praying to Jesus, and you were just, swimming your ass off over there. Yeah, heal well, Steve. Hopefully it wasn't major so that it would be like me where have 8.5 inches of incision and that kind of thing. So hopefully, Steve, yours is on a much smaller scale of operations and getting over. But we send you healing and prayers anyway, Steve. Operations and operations are operations. They are what they are, and we want to heal after them. So, you can't tell you had nose surgery. That's cool. You didn't need any kind of stitches. Well, they can do stitches now that are hidden, and when the skin grows back, there might be a tiny little line or something where the stitch was. It's amazing the mic. I had microsurgery done on my knuckle years ago, where I cut it with a bandsaw while cutting pork chops in jail. Yeah, the stitches are inside. Yeah, and it cut my knuckle open. But he microsurgery tied my tendon back together in my uh, in my knuckle, and then the big cut on my knuckle that flapped open. And but you look at it now, you have to look really close to see where there were stitches on my knuckle. I mean, it's like, wow, you cut your thing. Yeah. And it was really opened up. Wow. You can barely tell. And that's true after all these years. But, he sewed that puppy up, in a way that there are barely any stitches on my knuckle. You can't see it. So there are some surgeons that are actually absolutely, magnanimous with what they can do. I mean, miracles, really. So, but anyway, so prayers for your healing. Go get this lot ready for school. You stay safe too, Katniss. We love you, and it's good to see you in. So, but anyway, going along now, it's almost been 2 hours. It's 2:11. I'm going to make y'all get ready in case you're going to do a 20. Um, Mine has turned into um, pretty much ashes, and I got to find my other alternative for a 20. Um, hey, Michelle, how are you? Yeah, sending you much love too. I'm sorry I've been silent recently. I've kind of had in life a little bit of a lull, not down or depressed or whatever, but I realized, and it has to do with tonight's subject, in that I had to regain my own power, because I was letting the pain in my back and things and just things wasn't moving like I want to, you know. I want to be out paddling already and I can't do it. And the realization that I can't do it was hard for me to take. And like, damn it, boy, you're supposed to be able to kayak by now and you can't. Well, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, well, what's wrong with me is that my back hurts. Yeah, but your back hurts. But, you know, that has been the excuse for not taking my life back. So I might not be able to kayak, but I can go out in the yard and pull that thing around in the yard. What do you mean, Dave? Well, since there's nothing wrong physically with my back other than it needs to heal and I need to get the muscles back into shape and everything. So, I can't kayak at the moment. So that means I got to sit here in this chair. And that's what I did for the last couple of weeks. And I realized here during my lull spot, hey, what's wrong? Well, I want to kayak. Yeah, well, but your back hurts. Yeah, well, but I want to kayak. So, in order to get strong enough to kayak, I have to at least be able to walk out to where the damn things are in the yard. Well, I can't do that. Well, then how are you going to kayak? Well, then practice walking to the damn thing, sitting out there in the yard. Quit bitching about it and go walk out there and tug it and pull it around in the yard till you can get strong enough so you can go kayaking again. Sitting here looking out the window and bitching because I can't kayak yet is making me weaker. I've lost the will in my mind. Oh, my back hurts. Oh, I can't walk around. I can't do what I want to do yet. Well, then, so make it and practice and work on it. Well, I can't do it. Well, are you trying to do it? Well, I can't do it. Hawkeye, I asked you a question. What was that question? Have you tried to do it? Well, what do you mean? Well, I can't do it. I've had back surgery. Dave, Hawkeye, pay attention. I'm asking you a question. Are you trying to kayak? No, because my back hurts. Well, then, if you're not trying to kayak, don't blame me. What? Don't blame me if you can't kayak because you ain't trying. Well, I'm doing my exercises here in my chair and, but my back hurts. But you're not trying to kayak, are you? Well, no, because it's out in the yard and it hurts to walk and then you ain't trying, are you? Well, no, I guess not. I took my power back when I realized that I really wasn't trying. Now it still hurts. It's still difficult, but I had lost in my brain, I can't do it. My back hurts. Physical therapists say, be careful and we got to try this and we can't do that because and well, why aren't you kayaking? Well, I can't even walk out to the kayak. How am I going to get in it if I can't walk to it? How am I going to do this if I haven't practiced this? I can sit in this chair and dream about it and I can do my little exercises, but it ain't the same as participating. It ain't the same as going out and grabbing my kayak and at least flipping it over out there in the yard and pulling it 2 or 3 feet and moving it back and and getting my hands on the kayak and participating in that way. And here, these last couple of days, I just feel better because my mindset has changed. Thus, the title for this video, which has a lot of other things too, but to take your power back. And I had inadvertently, in this little lull of space of healing, which every day is healing if I choose to, and I've got my heating pad on right now to help me heal in that respect. But the healing part of this, and it's 2:17, so we got 3 minutes. Y'all locked and loaded? So in my mindset, to take my power back, it's to at least walk out in the yard, at least get that back. Yeah, but it hurts. So I got it, sitting in this chair is not getting me any closer to kayaking. But if I walk out to the yard and back and stay out there and move the kayak around a little bit and go do this or that, and now I'm participating. And now I feel like, even though I'm in pain, feel like that I am participating. I'm not in my chair. I'm not in the yard. I'm actually participating, not just in my mind or bitching and complaining. Because now when I go out in the yard and I grab the kayak, I'm saying to myself, one of these days soon we're going to get back in the water. One of these days soon I'm going to get back in the water. Now soon might be 2 more months. I don't know. But I'm putting out the good vibes in my own head. I've taken control of the situation and I'm going to do this because now I'm standing in the yard. Now I'm pulling the kayak around to get my strength back. and now I'm participating. That means one of these days soon, I am going to be in the water. I am going to make this happen because I'm participating now. Now, shit might happen and I might not get back to but that's not the point. Sitting in this chair and saying, well, one of these days I will get back in the water, when it's hard enough for me to just walk to the door and back. So now my effort is walk to the yard and back. Now I'm actually working towards it. Well, I was before, but no, you weren't. Well, yeah, I was. I'd go to the door, but you weren't participating, Hawkeye. You made up stories, and tonight, Dragonfly was the illusion. So you're creating the illusion that you're exercising. Well, no, I'm moving my legs. I'm sitting in the chair. I'm actually doing the exercises. Yeah, but the exercises you're doing is not the same thing that you need in order to go kayaking again. You need to go out in the yard and pull the kayak around a little bit. Hey, Scratch, you need to participate more, not just walk to the door. That's all good and exercise, and I'm getting up and down out of the chair, and all of that is positive. But I'm not making the extra effort of walking out and touching that kayak like, tag, you're it. And I walk back in and go, I went out there. I touched the kayak today. You know what? Yeah, me and Duggar. Duggar was out running around, which is also another good reason to be outside rather than just to the door, is he participates more outside. And it's good for him to go running around and all that. I'm doing Scratch. And that's part of the discussion I'm having right now is that, in recovering from my surgery, which was very major, um, I have to say that because my brain has to hear it. Because I kind of like, well, that wasn't that big of a deal, and yeah, it really was a big deal, and that it is taking me longer to heal than I thought and had anticipated, but I'd also given in to that. So my mindset has changed in very, very drastically. In that, as soon as I realized what the hell I was doing, and it was inadvertently. I was trying to be a good boy and do my exercises here in my chair and all that. But then Spirit came to me the other day and said, that ain't enough. It's 2:21. We missed it. Have one. I am. It's cleanup crew. Aisle 4. So despite all this stuff, because I want to kayak again, I have come up with my own plan. I have taken back my control. And it's simply at this point, I'm going to walk out in the yard and touch the kayak and then come back. It's a good ways out here. Whereas I was just walking out to the front door and right around here in front of the house, not very far. Once every other day or so, I am walking up the driveway to get the mail. But today it was raining and we didn't get a chance to take the walk. But yesterday we did, and me and Duggar, um, and had a little walkabout in the yard. And that's when I'm making up my mind to go over to touch the kayak. So I had lost the effort in my own brain. I'm going to walk to the door in the back. I'm going to do my stretchy exercises, and that's all good. But I wasn't going that extra mile. I wasn't going to the kayak. I wasn't going to the thing. And then as soon as I changed my attitude, my brain went, what? Oh, holy mackerel. Oh, I realize now that we've been in a sort of a lull, not really a slump, but, holy cow. I lost my own power. Here I am trying to teach folks stuff and learn and holy crap, I lost it. I lost it to the thought. And the thought is your back hurts. and you can't walk far, and you should take it easy, and you need to let it heal. Well, yeah, but you need to walk out there and touch that kayak. You need to go out there and let that kayak know you ain't forgot. You need to go out there. Well, the other side of my brain's arguing with me. Well, the physical therapist, we can't overdo it and we can't. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong. They took pictures. There's nothing wrong. There's fluid along your spine, but there ain't really nothing wrong. So, yeah, it hurts to walk, but you need to make the effort. Yeah, but it's a long way out there, the kayak, and then you got to come back. Yeah, but you can rest when you get out there. But it's a long way out there. And what if, oh, shut up. Go touch the kayak because we want to and because we need to touch it, because we need to feel and in our own brain that we made the effort to touch the kayak, to really say, I really am going to put you back in the water as soon as possible. I don't know when soon is, but as soon as possible. So this is good medicine for the head. It's good medicine for the soul. It's good medicine for me to walk out there and touch that kayak. So now that might be just a metaphor for you, but everybody should have some kind of goal. And if you don't go out there and touch that goal, or try to touch it, if you're just sitting in the chair thinking about touching it, then you're not really participating. Not really. And that's what I've realized. So for the last 10 days ish, like, wow, and and huh, and and, what about this, and a lot of humming and and stuff, so now I realize that, humming and hawing about this and your pain and exercise, and doing these in the house stuff and everything, and that's all cool and dandy. But Dave, in life, in order to really achieve what we want, we have to go that extra, whatever that extra is. And whatever, like when I was in theater, you want to be in a show, then you're gonna have to give up. You can't play golf for the next 3 weeks because you're going to be involved with the show. You're going to have to give up some other stuff. You're going to have to leave work and go right to rehearsals, and that's going to be tough. You're not going to get your little martini in the evenings or whatever. You're going to have to give up certain things. You're going to have to, stay late for rehearsals, and you're going to have to, you're going to have to do these things if you want to be in the show, or if you want to do whatever you want to do that might be an extracurricular activity. You got to put in extra effort. So if I want to go kayaking again, looking out the window just ain't getting it. I got to go out there and touch that sucker. And I was afraid to do it. And I was using pain is a really good excuse, okay? But at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm an unreal cuss, and I have promised that I wasn't going to let anything get me down. And I sort of broke my promise in that, because unconsciously, as circumstances have arisen, I had given up because I had given in to nothing but the pain. The pain and only the pain and nothing but the pain. So help me God. And then I realized that that was part of my problem, that I had given into the pain. So in life, people give in to other things. And it's not, pain is just the example at the moment. And I'm not trying to use this as a platform to, oh, Dave, he's in so much pain and all. No, that's why I haven't said anything for a while, because I don't want people to think that. Yes, I'm in a lot of pain daily, but I don't want folks, oh, God, Hawkeye's in all this pain and stuff. I don't want that woe is me for me. No. And I was starting to get into that pity party and woe is me. I'm not healing like I wanted to. Yeah, but you dipshit, you're still sitting in that chair, this chair. Yeah, but it hurts. So? Well, get up and go to the kitchen and just stand in there. Wash one dish and then come back in here. But it hurts to stand up. I know, but go do it. Okay. Go, do this. Okay. One tiny little thing. Go do it. Okay. So it's not a lot, but, okay, do that. All right. Go out in the yard and touch the kayak and come back. Okay. Now, the next thing in my head was, yeah, well, you touched the kayak. Do you know where your, your personal flotation device is? If you want to go kayaking, remember last time you went and didn't take your PFD? Yeah, it cost $65. Remember? Yeah. Where's your PFD? I don't know because it's been so long since I've been in the water. Right? I don't know where my PFD is. So, and it's not in the kayak. So the next thing is, I know where the kayak is because it's obvious in the yard. So where's your PFD? Well, you're going to need it to go kayaking. Okay, so now my next chore is, where's my flotation device? Where's my this? Where's my my favorite paddle? I don't know. Well, it's over there somewhere, but do you know where it is? No. Can you go kayak without it? No. So things that I took for granted before the operation and things that were natural, now I have to think about them. Where is this thing? Well, before, I knew where my paddle was, I knew where the thing was, and I could just go grab them. But because it's been so long, I have to relearn. Where is this? Well, I should get it out. If I'm going to go kayaking soon, I could put my PFD in the kayak and have it ready. And, so I don't have to go looking or, there are things I could do to practice to go kayaking again, but in my moving around and walking in the yard and over there in the where the trailer is, where all the camping stuff is, I'm making an effort. I'm gaining strength. So I'm not sitting in this chair thinking about what I want to do. I'm out there participating. So in my participation tomorrow, just say for tomorrow, I'm going to go look for my PFD, my personal flotation device. My blue vest is my favorite one, the most comfortable. Where's my blue vest at? Don't know. Well, so for tomorrow, my chore is to find it. Well, it should be over there. I could find it in 2 minutes. I could walk out there and put my hands right on it, or it could take me 20 minutes to find it. But my chore is going to be, where's my PFD? My chore is going to be to find it. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to stand up. It means I'm going to have to walk. It means I'm going to have to exercise my arms. It means I'm going to have to participate, whether it hurts or not, how much it hurts or not, doesn't matter. It's the fact that I'm going to achieve, where's my blue PFD? And then the next day, where's my paddle? Then the next day, where's my my lead lines that I normally have on the kayak? The next day, then where's my this? So for every time I go out and participate, uh, yep, Scratch, I'm going to keep at it. Joe says professionals don't really know what's best. I learned from experience a few days ago. Listen to that intuition. Very good, Joe. I absolutely agree with you. So, in here, right recently, my intuition has been, Dave, you got to participate. Yeah, but, so the other side of my brain is saying, yeah, but you want me to go out there and just play tag with the damn kayak? Yes. You want me to go just walk out in the yard and touch it and come back home? Yep. Well, that just sounds dumb as hell. It might be, Dave. But for the walk out there and back, for the touching it, and now when you touch that kayak, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, man, I really want to put you in the water. And man, it's really going to bring up that emotion within me is going to well up inside me because now I'm touching the kayak and I'm so close to it and the river's just down the road and and if I just had a little bit more strength, I could. Regard, because I can sit in the kayak and it doesn't hurt. So, but walking and getting there and putting the kayak in, that all hurts. And I need to get strong enough to be able to do that again. And okay, it gives you impetus to want to go do it. It gives you courage to want to do it just by going out there and playing tag with that kayak, as stupid as that may sound. And in a way, it is. But the overall wholeness, wellness of it, if a kayak was a woman, if that kayak was a woman, it would be a beached whale. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to go out and apologize to the kayak that it would be a beached woman. Oh, God, that was bad. Oh, Lord have mercy. I know this little redheaded woman that she's a couple of years older than me, and I still got a crush on her after all these years. And I have been debating as to whether or not to tell her, because what difference is it going to make now? I mean, if I just tell her and go, Miss Ruthie, I've had a crush on you for years, and I just have never told you. But, I'm almost 71 years old, and I just thought that what the hell, I just thought I would tell you. Know what we do or what you do, or but I just want to let you know I've had a crush on you for years, and we've been friends, and not necessarily intimate friends, but hugging and being close to one another is always nice. But she could be my kayak, and we have paddled together, actually. But she's gotten a little weak over the years. She was a swimmer and was a licensed lifeguard for many years at the YMCA and other places. So, but she got old. Maybe she knew. Well, I think I think Miss Ruthie knows that there's a part of me that like really likes her, because I really like to like give her a hug, or get close to her or whatever, and she will do the same thing too. And so and there is some kind of connection between us. There just is. And I know she's aware of it, but I don't know if she's aware of that, how strong that is in me. And I'm afraid to ask her how strong it is in her affections, or how she feels about me, or whatever. And I don't know if we'd ever do the nasty kind of thing, but it would sure nice to just be able to cuddle. I mean, just sit on the couch and just hold somebody that would cuddle with you, and just that closeness. I just never thought I'd be this old and not have some kind of closeness. I just knew I'd be sitting on the back porch, watching the sun go down. I don't have a back porch, but, we'd go up on the hill and watch the sunset. Or, we'd go do a thing. Or in the evenings, we'd be sitting out on the veranda, not quite finished. But, and that we would share this closeness together. And not having that, I'm like, I just always kind of thought I would. So maybe I need to go talk to Ruthie, because she's single and elderly, and we don't have anybody. And at least as far as I know, she doesn't have anybody. So if nothing else, maybe we can just sit on her back porch and watch the sun go down. Well, I have to get up early to go to get some distilled water to mix with some saline to wash the inside of my. Safe trip, Steve. And I know there's been some bad weather up your way. Be careful if it's raining. It can be slip sliding away. Companionship, absolutely, Michelle. Now I know that I have friends that I have companionship with, but I just never thought that at my age and the way I am, and a Libra, and and I just want somebody to hold hands with. I just never thought I wouldn't have somebody like that. But lo and behold, that's just how it's worked out. You take care as well, Steve, and lots of prayers. And, hope that your nose holds together. And I hope it does you well with sleeping and whatever. I hope that the surgery, the outcome of the surgery, it works for you. So, but, it might be that sometimes in life, like I was thinking about, and may do a show on the topic of being the hermit or being a hermit, the topic of being the hermit and what that means to different people. And I've discussed it before, but not as I don't think as a topic in and of itself. But anyway, so I was thinking about being the hermit because in my lull period, I found myself doing a lot of praying and not for myself. And everybody here, Michelle and Joe, and just folks going down and it's sort of the kaleidoscope isn't the right word, a Rolodex, flipping that Rolodex and watching the names come go flipping by, and and like, oh, there's Joe, and there's Michelle, and there's Scratch, and there's Steve, and there's Richard, and there's all these people, and they're going by, and so I'm like, and some names would stop for a minute, and I'd go, whatever may be in your neighborhood today, I pray that it works out well, and then the next name would flip by, and whatever, and it would just go by. Well, there's Steve, and there's, and prayers to all of you, and this name and that name and this name and that person, and then it would slow up, and there'd be, I'm picking on you, but then there would be Chloe's name or somebody, and I go, oh, okay, prayer. If there's something going wrong in your neighborhood today, I pray that it ends up well, and pray for healing and whatever may be needed. And then that card goes by, and then some other names will go by. And I realized, I've talked about this before, but in this is Tuesday now. It goes back to like last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of thing. That I realized that in my little lull, if I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and what was wrong was I'd lost my power of, and I was in this transition period of healing, and I needed to figure it out on my own and work it out and do so, and I am. Um, but in that lull was a lot of hermit time. I was I was trying to disconnect from the pain and ignoring it, and but I wasn't doing anything to cause any pain, and that was one of my issues. Um, I should have been moving around more. I should have hurt more. I should have been sore from trying to be more active, instead of just sitting. So, this attitude adjustment was what I was working on. But during that attitude adjustment, I had reverted into being the hermit, not being a hermit, but being the hermit. And what I mean by that is that for me, when I made my vow to be a warrior for Christ, I meant it. And it meant that being the hermit meant that I would spend time in prayer for other people. That being the hermit as the hermitage would be about prayer to fix peace, to help heal, to whatever the prayer should be, but that it would always be a positive prayer. Now, that was my wish or whatever, as being the hermit, not being a hermit. Wow, I'm having flashbacks of dreams I've had. Wow, this is weird. Of being the hermit, because I chose to be the hermit, being in prayer and being in meditation, and not necessarily giving up my life, but by being the hermit, I had that is my life because I chose it. I said I'm going to be a warrior for Christ. I'm going to be the hermit. I'm going to pray for people. I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to this thing. Well, what is this thing? Because it kind of sort of morphs around. It's still praying for people, and all of you as my subscribers and friends and cohorts in crime, you know, um, you are absolutely on my list of, because we have made contact. Therefore, I can send prayers in your direction, wherever that direction may be. And because we have participated together with conversation, I feel that I can send you prayers, and that in some way or shape or form that they'll get there, especially if they're needed. So now I might be totally wrong. I might just be shitting in the wind, and this could be my grandiose thinking that I'm going to, this is my Jesus Christ complex, in that I can heal the world simply by being a hermit and immersing myself in meditation and prayer for other people. Now, other people say, well, that's just bullshit, Dave. You're going to dedicate your life to just prayer? The answer is yes. Now, I find myself praying at times when I'm like maybe watching a movie or something's on, and I'm meditating out and I'm watching and listening, but I ain't paying attention and I ain't watching and listening. I'm actually praying. Now, I haven't been taking the walks that I used to take with Duggar. We're going to get back into it. And I haven't been on the water like I used to do with Duggar and so forth. So, but that's part of my thing, is that how bad do I want to do it? Well, then I need to start really working more towards it. And I am. And that's a positive thing. And it's a positive thing in many ways. I'm not giving in to the world. I'm not giving in to other things. I'm taking control of myself again. And it feels good. And oh, but it was some great big change in my life. Well, in a way, dealing with these major operations and heart attacks and all, and doctors and all, um, I'm coming out on the other side. And I should expect that it's going to be tough, because it was tough, you know? So, been bitching because I'm not healed yet, you know? Okay, maybe there's a big lesson in that, and I can see it now, in how easily it was to lose power, and I lost it because of pain, and this is all a natural progression of things. It was natural for me to go into this lull. It was natural for me to go, well, I just need to sit here and heal, and I shouldn't push it, and my back really hurts, and for whatever reason, and maybe God's picking on me and I got to pay back some karma. Who knows? So I'm focusing all on the pain and not getting better. I'm focusing on something else, and I've lost control of the positivity, because now I positively feel that I can't walk because of the pain. I'm convinced because of the pain I can't do these things, and because of the pain I can't do this or that and the other thing. And I had convinced myself of it, and it's like, no, it does hurt. That's true, and you might not be able to spend 10 minutes, but you can spend 2. You can spend 3 minutes. And if you work at it, you can spend 4. And with a little bit of luck and practice, you're going to hit 5 minutes. So, but you got to go out there and start at 1 or 2 minutes. And I'd just given up. Screw it. I hurt too bad. It hurts too much to do it. I'm not good. I'll sit here in the chair and do my exercises instead because it doesn't hurt near as much as just walking to the kitchen and back, you know? So I had convinced myself that this is what I need to do. And nope, all right, enough of that. But so in life, we convince ourselves that we can't do things or that we shouldn't do a thing and so in that we have lost control. We have lost our internal strength because our internal things said, look, hey, really. And sometimes you lose sleep over things like that. I know I have over the years, over stupid shit, just stupid, 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 stupid things, convinced that certain people hated me, and convinced that something 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 because of an incident, and I let my mind go crazy and wild and push it to all these different degrees, and then you find out you were 110% in the wrong direction, and that just and all the time and energy, and you actually made your stomach upset because you overthought something, and you drove yourself crazy. Well, it's not necessarily the same now that I'm going through, but it is. But what's important is the other day that I recognized it. And I was so happy. It was like Friday of last week, Saturday. I was so flippin' happy. I mean, I actually lost a day. I'm talking to my friends and I say, tomorrow I need a ride to the store. And they was tomorrow, well, tomorrow's Sunday. And I said, no, tomorrow's Monday because today's Sunday. And they were like, no, tomorrow is Sunday. Look at your calendar. And I was like, well, it's still on April or May. Then I looked down there at the computer and I looked at it, said, six, and what day? Holy crap. It is Saturday. No wonder the horse race was on. And why are they doing the horse race on Sunday? You know, um, Holy crap, where's my NASCAR races? It's tomorrow. Oh, holy crap. So, that was just the other day. So in that losing a day, I know that I was in the hermit mode because I was in this. I There's something I need to understand. There's something in my brain that's moving around, and in the meantime, the my Rolodex is flipping names that are going by, and sometimes a face or two, and I'm like, and it just all day long, and it was effortless, and as it's going on, I'm kind of like smiling and just and not really thinking about anything in particular, and then it like ding, and it was like, you're doing the hermit thing, and I was like, yeah, ain't it cool? And I was like, was not aware, it was just happening. And so when I stopped and let the other side of me go, yeah, but look, for the last, what time is it? For the last 6 hours, you've been the hermit. Yeah, but no, 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 no. I mean, for the last 6 hours, you've been the hermit. You've been the warrior for Christ. You've been praying, you've been meditating, you've been sending all this love and healing and everything. You've been the hermit. And I was like, holy crap, I really was the hermit. You know, I was doing, quote, my job. Wow, that's interesting. Because I just do it, right? Without necessary, um, I don't say, I don't sit here in the chair and go, okay, I'm fixing to go pray for folks. Now, there are times when that happens, when I know that there are prayers needed somewhere, that I will say, okay, let me send some prayers out to Humpty Scrunch and Scoodle Doo and, and Feedle Fi. Humpty Scrunch, you've had a sore neck, and, gonna send you some liniment and a back rub, and in my mind, and I hope you relax. And, Skittle Dig over here, I'm not sure. I think you stumbled on something and hurt your foot, and you're hobbling around. I hope you can find a crutch for a couple of days, and I hope that your foot heals, and and that it's not broken. And then Twiddledee over there, something's wrong, and maybe it's something with the family member or whatever, and they're having an upset day, and it's really difficult to work with somebody, and and so I send them calming energies, and that they will, be in control of themselves and stay calm and not get upset, and so there are days where there are, I say, situations where I'm going to sit down and pray for these folks. I'm praying for you today. I'm sending you love and energy. But in between those, the Rolodex is sending prayers out. you know. Well, there's Timbuktu, and there's Joe, and there's Scratch, and there's um, um, that Mr. Clark guy, and Steve, and there's this guy, and there's this person, and and there's Chloe, and there's Witch Moon, and blip 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 blip, and they're flipping through, and then I go back to, well, my sister, she had issues in her grandson was whiny and stuff, and let's send energy over there. And that's a conscious single one person, well, actually two, her and her grandson, but but to that, it's one area, one spot, and you send it out there, and it's intentional, and then you go, and then my brain goes back to the kaleidoscope. It's not a kaleidoscope thing. It's not kaleidoscope. It's a Rolodex. But anyway, kaleidoscope is haphazard and not the same. But this is love you too, Chloe. You headed out, but so anyway, with this thought pattern, there are two sides of my head will talk, have little conversations, and one side will point out to the other, you know, did you just see what you just did? No, what do you mean? You just took control back of your brain. What are you talking about, Willis? Well, you just took back your power. Well, but I didn't lose my power. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. You've been in this lull these last couple of days. And see, you've been in such a lull the last couple of days that you actually became the hermit. What? Yeah, you have just kind of left everything else go, and that you've been just in a prayer mode. What? Yeah, look what you just did. You were just doing, yeah, for the last 6, 7 hours, you just been in the hermit mode. Wow, that's interesting observation. No shit. Yeah, really. Yeah. And it's just it's been effortless. It only seems like it's been an hour or two. And it's been 6 or 7 hours, you say? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Wow. And I've been meditating, praying the whole time. Yeah. And it's been effortless. Yep. It's just happened. Yep. But that ain't what we signed. That's what we signed up for, right? Yep. I'm a warrior for Christ, and I, professed my faith, and yes. Oh wow. And that's what we've been doing. Wow. Now that's something that I haven't really been doing because I've been so focused on the pain. Now the Rolodex thing happens all the time. I mean, even in dreams, I wake up and names will be flipping by. Okay. So the Rolodex thing with names of the people who are subscribers to this channel and my friends and neighbors and so forth, your faces and names will go by, and I don't have any control over it. It just happens. And I'm gracious for it, and I've accepted it long time ago. Sometimes it's a little annoying. It's like, with these names are flipping by when I'm trying to concentrate on something else. But yet I realize that it's my job and that's what I signed up for. And so, what about for you? You know, I know that you folks, and I don't mean like Chloe in particular, but you as a general you, you haven't taken this same vow that I have, which is to be a warrior for Christ and to stand up for the good and to try to promote peace and honor and love and joy to the world, instead of you know I try to stay out of those negative things that are going on. We've talked about them, but along the lines, but there's so much nasty going on out there and so much negativity. Let's take some of that negativity and look at it and analyze it. And is it really that negative, or are we making it negative? Is it the illusion, like Dragonfly card that I pulled earlier with, with on Milky Way, or is it an illusion? Are they trying to make us believe that it's true for everything, or is it just an illusion? Do we come up with things and create our own illusions for ourselves? Because of outside influences, we feel that maybe we should be a part of something and that inadvertently we kind of go along with something when actually deep within ourselves we're no, we don't agree with this. Or no, maybe we shouldn't allow this to just, I shouldn't be complicit about this. I should at least raise my hand and go, no, I don't agree with you. It doesn't mean I'm going to start a fist fight, but raise your hand and say, no, I don't agree with you. If enough parents at school board meetings just raised their hand and said, nope, and we will vote you out next time, just like it took us a little while to get rid of that one our local council member here in Colquitt County for our district. We got rid of him. When it came time, we did not vote for him. We voted for somebody else. So, yes, you can affect a change. And yes, you can change things. And sometimes it takes a little while. But if you have to go by the rules, his term was up and we didn't vote for him, we got rid of him. So, school board meetings, people are making decisions that you don't like, then what you do is you go to these screaming and hollering don't do no good. But if enough people go and one person is the spokesperson, say, how many in this room agree that Umpty Scrunch up there is wrong and we don't like them, and that, that if we can, we'll impeach them. And if a whole room full of people raises their hand, that's a massive blow to whoever it is that you're discussing. And if you're telling them, look, next time you come up for vote, we're voting you out. And we're not gonna you just ain't gonna be here no more. And we're not gonna give you any support. And if you want to do anything else, this room full of people is gonna get together and we're gonna raise our hands and say no. We don't agree with you. No, we don't agree with your policies. No, we don't agree with you people on the panel who are voting this into our school systems and making us believe that a transgender man should be able to dress in a woman's locker room. No, stand up and say no. And when enough people go and raise their hand and say no, and then vote these people out, if it takes a year or two or whatever the thing, impeach these people. Go through the process and get rid of them. Take back your power. Take back your energy. And you say, well, this can't be done. Yeah, it can. It just might take a while. Oh, it'll never happen. Well, 2 years it took for us to get rid of that council member. But we got rid of them by voting them out, by not voting for him. So, there are ways, and sometimes it takes a while, but don't give up your personal power and say it can't be done, because then it can't. It'll never happen. But when you say, well, I'm going to go out there and walk in the yard and go touch my kayak because I can. Now, does that mean that I'm going to paddling the next day? No, but it gives me the strength to say, I went out and touched my kayak today. I went out and actually turned it over because it weighs a good bit. And that's exercise for me and my arms and my back to go over and flip that kayak over. It makes me, feel like, man, I really want to take this to the water. And, it gives me strength. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. I am getting stronger. Might take me a little while, but I'm going to get there. I'm not going to all these things are in my head, all these positive things, but that's me. But if you program yourself to whatever it is, I'm going to do this thing. It might be small, baby steps, whatever it is, take them. But the fact that you have taken back your power and you have taken the steps, maybe literally, like me, I'm going to walk out there in the yard and back because I need to walk more. So that's all positive. So there are some people who, as a metaphor, need to walk more. I know some folks, we were talking about dieting and exercise. And the one lady said, "Oh, I need to get my heart rate up and really pumping." And I said, "No, you don't." And she was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, building up your cardio. So, I got my machine out. I said, my pulse rate right now is 65. And she was like, "Wow, that's kind of low. Mine's 75, 85, just sitting here." And I was like, "Yeah, but my heart is beating 60 to 65 beats per minute, which is 10 to 15 beats per minute fewer." Now, I've always thought, because of watching monks and things and stuff, that if you could control your heartbeat, that your heart won't have to beat as hard or as much over a lifetime. So now at 70, looking back, was it profitable for me to keep my heartbeat at 60 to 65 versus other people who are runners who 75, 85, 95, they've really got a strong cardio. But the thing is the heart's beating 10 to 15 beats more per minute than mine is. So that means it's working harder in the long run. So that means, like, if it was a car engine, you'd be sitting at the stoplight, and your engine's revved up to 8,500 RPM, where mine's at 60. you know. So it's using more gas. It's really revved up there, but you're ready to go. It's primed, and you can take your foot off the brake and hit that gas pedal, and off you go. And it doesn't mean that the person with 60 or 6,000 RPM, ain't going to squeal the tires as good, but it doesn't mean that they're slow. But it does in the long run mean that engine wear is going to be less in the long run. In fact, I was watching NASCAR the other day, and they were talking about one of the guys, he had skipped a gear, and when he was downshifting or upshift, anyway, it revved up to like 90 over 9,000 RPM, and they were all worried about that he was going to blow his engine, because to go above 9,000, there's stuff in the engine that's just going to break. It ain't supposed to be there. And I think he finished the race and the engine didn't blow up, but they were worried. And this was like, 2 laps in that he made this mistake. This was just Sunday, the other day. So it's like, so you rev that engine up too much, then you blow an engine. So if you do that to your heart, or if your heart is always revved up, does in over 70 years, does that mean that your heart is weaker? Well, I don't know. I know I caused my heart issue with these. But having practicing in my lifetime consciously, wear and tear, right? Consciously meditating with my heartbeat. So I was telling the ladies the other day, and I said, what you do is you want to maintain a 65 heartbeat, even though you're running like hell. So as you're running, you don't want your heart rate to go up. You want your heart rate to come down. You want to control your heartbeat while you're running fast. You're rowing your ass off, but you're instead of no, don't do that. Paddle hard, but learn as you're paddling hard to slow your heart rate down while you're doing this heavy exercise. You know, and I said, that's where you gain control. And I said, and it's not how much cardio you do, because in the long run, it's all about stamina. And I said, y'all know me for years now, and I'm sitting here to tell you, it's all about stamina, because right now that's what I need to build back up is my stamina. Because I was telling them that Sunday that I had woke up to the fact that I needed to go out and touch my kayak, kind of thing, that I'd been in a lull, and that they were sort of in the same lull, but they were going to a gym and exercising together and all that, and they were talking about how they needed to get their cardio up, and I was like, you need to get your stamina up. If you can do 20 reps, how fast can you do them? Well, that's to get your cardio up. And I said, but if you can do 20 reps of whatever exercise you're doing, but you can keep your heart rate down, but you can end up then doing 30 by keeping your heart rate down. You've done your heart better service because you've kept the heart rate down, but you've gained in stamina. Oh, and they caught on right away. And I was like, so me at 70, I'd wished I'd have known some of this stuff, a little sooner. But I've always believed that maintaining a lower heart rate was, like Michelle says, less wear and tear on the overall muscle itself, because the heart is a muscle. So, anyway, I can't necessarily prove it, but, having seen the pictures inside my heart and what my smoking has done to myself, then I've got the cigarette that I want to relight. But that, at 70 years old, that's the wear and tear on my heart. And yeah, I created it, but I don't think I created it from over cardio. I think my heart's in this good a shape is because I've maintained a decent heart rate, a consistent heart rate, but slower than other people. It doesn't mean my heart rate hadn't gone up, but I have been in control of it. So as being the hermit, years ago, I meditate, and I still do. I meditate on the heartbeat. So if you slow your heart rate down to 60 beats per minute, 65 in there, so it's like a don't, don't. It's like one per second. So you can hear the clock tick, tock, tick, tock, doom, 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 doom. Good night, Joe. Then I'm fixing to go too, and it's almost 3 hours. How about? But so you meditate on your heart rate, you meditate on your breathing, and so this last week ish, I realized that I was doing this subconsciously and kind of sort of unconsciously. And then I realized that, wow, my brain and my body had taken back control of itself without me even paying attention. It just did it. I Because I am who I am at this age, as the hermit, because I promised to do this. So, but I was flabbergasted as to I was actually doing it subconsciously. And I was like, wow, that's just groovy on my part. So that you can pray all day long subconsciously and still be praying, and it still be, I'm hoping it was a good outcome. because that's what I was projecting. And so, but, we're not necessarily praying for outcomes, that come back on us. We're just sending it out there as that's our job, is to send prayers to the universe. So, wow, Dave, Hawkeye, you're actually doing your job. Wow, that's amazing. So, in this, my body has taken back its prime directive, if you will. And then my conscious mind realized that, oh my God, not only subconsciously, but now I can see it consciously. I've taken back my control. Instead of everything being painful to everything sore and I need to work it out. Change those words around and change the thought patterns around. Yes, it still hurts like the dickens, but we're gonna talk about it in a different way. And so it's soreness now instead of pain. And it's discomfort versus pain. And we're going to work through this, you know, and the discomfort and not the pain. So take control back over the system, your system, consciously and subconsciously, and thank you to the universe, because I'm like, wow, holy cow, it's working out. One way or the other, it's working out. So you too have faith. You'll find a way to work it out. Have faith that even though when you are in a lull state, a little dip in your life, it's just the opportunity to look at whether or not you have control and whether or not you've lost control. My little lull said, hey, Dave, you kind of lost control. You've given in to the pain thing. Oh, awareness is so important, right? So as soon as you become aware, like the other day, I had a pack of cigarettes open, and before I knew it, the pack was gone. I mean, and I looked in my ashtray and was like, I was doing something on the computer, and the next thing I know, I'd smoked 6 cigarettes in like an hour, hour and a half. And I looked down there and was like, what the hell? And I was just not paying attention. Whereas for the last 2 hours, I've been trying to smoke this one cigarette. Good night, Joe. But anyway, in our prayers, decide what you want. So I decided that I was going to be a prayer warrior, and here I am still. So within myself, I'm pleased that I'm still doing this. Within myself, I'm pleased that I haven't given up or changed or said, this is useless, or I'll never do this, or why, or question why I'm doing it. None of that's happened. So I must have made a good choice for that. So for yourselves out there, not saying that you're going to be the prayer warrior or that you're going to be the hermit and that you're going to take on these responsibilities, if you will. And now for me, I've talked about it here on the live stream, but nobody knew that I went out in the yard and made the commitment that I did and laid flat on the ground and prayed, made my offering and pledge. And I think there was some blood. I know there were some tears involved, and laying flat on the ground and praying to Mother Earth and so forth. And so, but nobody knew the impact of what I did. Nobody saw it. Nobody experienced what I did. So when I say a prayer warrior, it goes back to that incident, right? When I was flat on the ground and when I was making these pledges and so forth. And when I felt that the Holy Spirit had entered me for at least a time and given me faith and bolstered my faith. So, but um, whatever you all do, choose, decide, if you make a pledge, and to mostly to yourself, I pledge that I'm going to be a better human being. You don't necessarily say how, or maybe you can. You can say, I pledge to the universe that I'm going to be a better person. And I'm going to be a better person because I'm going to learn how to speak in the positive. I'm going to learn how to just alter words so that I speak more positively. And and my pledge is to try to teach other people to do this as I move ahead in life. That and I know that I can improve my life because I've realized that I have a tendency to speak in the negative. And so my change in life and to be a better person, I choose to learn how to speak in the positive. Now that's a simple pledge, but it's a difficult it ain't difficult because I've been doing it over the years and I've been trying to teach y'all how to do it too at times. And so we speak in the positive and we change the wording around. And so, but nobody knows if, unless you do it in front of a bunch of people, nobody knows that you've made this pledge. You have promised to do better. You pledged to do better. So who'd you pledge it to? Yourself, me, myself, and I. I pledged it to the universe. Now I pledged my, being a warrior for Christ. It was obviously to Christ, and to that type entity thingy. And so, but if you make a pledge to do better or to, not holler at your kids or whatever your pledge is that you choose to do, if you choose, is up to you, right? So if you're going to break your promise to you, or if you say, I pledged, I pray that I'm going to do better to my mother-in-law, or to my father-in-law, or to my husband. I've been treating him wrong, and I've been misunderstanding, and I'm going to do better, or I'm with my children, whatever the situation might be, right? You choose to do better. Well, if you're just half-assed about it, choosing to do it and actually doing it. But if you make a promise or a pledge to yourself to do it, I promise I'm gonna try to do better. I promise I pledge to do better. You don't try to do better, you promise to do better. Now you gonna try along the way to do better. That's gonna be obvious, but in your statement, you say, I am gonna do better. All right. And then so that's your pledge. I'm gonna do better. You don't say in how many increments or when you're gonna get it done by or whatever. Your pledge is to just do better. So then do so. Well, tomorrow, it's not like, well, I have to all day long, I have to do better and I got to do this and this and this and this. And I'm going to achieve all this in one day. Well, the learning how to do better is over a lifetime. So to try to cram all these lessons into one day or 1 week or even a month is like, dumbass, don't do that. But plan out that this is going to take a lifetime for me to be the hermit. And I didn't know, you know, it's a good 10 years now, 2013, 2023, that ain't, no, that's 20 years, ain't it? So 20 years ago, I made this pledge. And incrementally along the way, it's gotten more serious, even though I still pledged it 20 years ago. And I was serious 20 years ago. Now it means even more to me, the pledge that I made. And the fact that I haven't really wavered on it. I've just gone through lulls of it. So whatever you have pledged, your children, your lifestyle, do a better job, be a better listener, whatever the pledge might be that you have done, in whatever means, shape, or form, have you actually fulfilled it? And was it important to you that you fulfilled it? Just like for me, when I gave up drinking, I gave up drinking. Now I got a bottle of Jack Daniels sitting right up there. Yep, right there. And it's been there for a good while. And if I want to have a drink, I can pull it down and pop that top and have a drink. But I don't because I'm in control. And I've been wanting to smoke this cigarette now is going on for a while. And but I'm in control and I want to hold off. So um, rather than just give in. So, how serious are you by whatever pledge you made? Have you stood by it? And if you haven't stood by it, do you really care? Well, I was going to do this and I just kind of let it go. Well, then that pledge didn't really mean anything, did it? So then future events, well, I pledge I'm going to do better about this. Well, the last couple times you made a pledge, you just let them puppies slide. So what are you going to do that's different this time around? Well, I don't know. I'm because I really mean it this time. Okay. Well, 10 years ago when I said something like this, and well, I thought I understood and I didn't really, and then this happened and that happened, and I just gave in and just what the hell. Well, so what's going to stop you from having similar things happen because events are happening in your life? Are you going to pledge this now and for a week you're going to be serious and then by the end of the month you're going to forget it altogether and give up, you know? Circumstances change. So for me, and I'm using my prayer warrior thing, is because that was a serious thing for me to do. Now, other things might not be so serious. Like, I promised to, you know, I don't know. I can't think of anything because I've given up most of, you know, you know, eating bacon all the time or something like that. And I'm going to cut down on and I don't eat bacon very seldom. And I stay away from grease and things, which I think has helped me in the long run. But, my pledge is to continue with similar diet for the rest of, however, to try to maintain where my heart rate and everything is at the moment. We don't want it to get worse. So my pledge is to maintain what I have to try to keep the same kind of heart rate thing going on, right? Okay. So that's a pledge. So you can make this simple pledge that I'm going to try to continue to do as good as I am, whatever that good means. That you're not going to give in to road rage and that you slipped the other day and said a bunch of curse words in front of the grandkids or something. And you don't want to do that. And you pledge to do better and to watch your mouth or whatever the thing might be that you have pledged in your life. And some may be very serious pledges that you make to yourself versus just, I want to do better kind of. And you're half-ass serious, but you're not dedicated serious. You let a cuss word slip and it's like, grandma slipped up with a cuss word again and ha 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 versus no, grandma's really going to pay attention to her potty mouth around the kids, you know, and grandma's really going to watch her mouth in conversations. She's just not going to be loosey goosey, right? No. So, and I've been there with the cursing around the grandkids thing. And so I understand that sometimes you just kind of, yeah, it's playful and oh, damn it. Oh, grandpa said a curse word. Yeah, I know. And here's $1 in the jar, blah, 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 And, then there are times when you go, damn, and you almost say the word and you catch yourself and you tell your grandkids, Grandpa almost said a wordy dirt. Grandpa almost cussed. Well, what word was that? Oh, grandpa almost said, damn it. Oh, and that has happened before. But so, whatever promises we make to ourselves, if we make them, we passed to 20 and I missed it, is up to us and ourselves in the universe. So decide whether or not you want to be serious with these promises that you make to yourselves or whoever, and decide whether or not, you want to be in control of that promise or whatever that you made. And that if you haven't and you've lost control of it, and you find yourself going, wow, now you're aware of the fact that you broke your promise, or that you haven't really, worked on a diet or done a thing or been as nice as you could have or something, and you kind of reverted back to your old ways or whatever. But when you realize it and you go, wow, I really should have done better. Now, to me, that's an important message to you. And if you act and react on that moment and you go, wow, I really should have done it different. And then you try to do, wow, what a save. Now it's only between you and the universe, but the universe is clapping. It's saying, good for you. You have noticed that you haven't fulfilled your promise like you maybe should have. You've been lagging. And now that you realize that I really should have done better and you do. Yeah, but I agree with you, Michelle. But there are some people who know better, but they don't do better. That's my point. They just sit there and go, oh, I know I should have done better. And oh, well. But then there are the people who go, I should have done better, and starting like right now, because I'm aware of it, I am going to do better. And I'm gonna call Sally tomorrow, and we're gonna organize a something and something and something. Yeah, it's free will, but I applaud those people who recognize their own promise and whether or not they're fulfilling it, and the fact that they wish to do better versus, yeah, I could have done better, but yeah. The person who realizes they could have done better and don't do anything about it, but they realize it, they get it, they can see it. They're, to me, they're a dumbass or a halfwit, because they could have done something, and it's their own promise, and it may not have any effect on me at all, but they made a promise. They made a statement, and they just, yeah. So in life, they're just, other things come up, and they just, yeah. You can tell by the type of person that they are if they just, yeah, let things go by. Phil, how are you? Lorraine Chavez, be healed of memory loss, all health problems, be restored with perfect health in Jesus' name. Lorraine Chavez, possessions and finances be restored anew in Jesus' name. Okay, Phil. May they be. I don't know your situation, but let's put it out there to the universe that things happen that way. But so, of course, everybody has free will. Some have lost the power of their own free will or feel like they've lost it. And if they feel like they've lost it, they have. But realizing that you've lost it is part of the learning curve, it's part of the game. Oh God, I could have done better. So then do better. Man, I really should have, said that differently. So next time a situation comes up, speak differently, do something, make the change, follow through on it. Just don't give up and it's just frivolous and you toss it away with your, talk to the hand, or off it goes into Never Never Land, you know. So too many people do that still. And, for those people, I'm thinking of a couple of people that I've known who, if it didn't suit them, even though they said they would help or to do something or whatever, they were like, well, I couldn't find the time. Well, I know I promised that I would do it, but something else came up. Well, did you call anybody because you can't do it? Well, no, I figured somebody would just figure it out. Well, I'm thinking of a show, for example. They were supposed to find some costumes and they didn't do it. Then they just disappeared. They didn't answer any calls from any of the other from the cast or crew of the show, and they just find out later. Well, they just didn't want to be bothered. Well, okay, but you could have called somebody and said, "Look, I don't want to be bothered with this, and I'm sorry that I volunteered. Find somebody else." Well, but it's a week before we open and we still don't have costumes that you promised that you could get. Now what do we do? Punt, right? But so there, I have met these people who are too good for it, or something has come up, or they have decided, oh man, I shouldn't have volunteered, or integrity. Not everyone has it. Absolutely. And there are some people that I've been very disappointed in locally in thinking, this person works really well in the community. Well, here was what I found out that they worked well in the community if it suited them. So if it was a high profile, there were going to be people there with pictures and a table layout with some food or a luncheon or something. She's going to be there and putting it out and with the doilies and everything and being Miss, what's her name on TV. And, and but because they're taking pictures and she's going to rub elbows with other people in the high society. But if it's something that's more quiet, like finding costumes for a show that you agreed to do or whatever, and but that's but well, but I had to do this luncheon because it was high function when literally she could have still been looking for costumes and still done the luncheon, but she used the luncheon or the buffet thingy or whatever as the excuse not to find the costumes and to not participate, and she found another excuse to get out of what I changed my mind. Integrity, okay. Well, she had integrity only for that which profited her. And so she would volunteer for things in front of a group of people. Oh, look, there's Lizzie Borden volunteering to get an axe for the play. you know, hey, Lizzie, how's it coming with that axe over there? Oh, nothing, shut up, chop, 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 chop. But she'd only do it for when it suited her. But anyway, so Lizzie's over there in front of all these people because it looks good for her image, because her image is hanging out with other people that are prestigious in the community when actually she's really not fulfilling her job back here. Well, she showed up at the banquet and rubbed elbows with everybody, but she wasn't there to set up the tables and put out the cloth. She wasn't there 2 hours early. She got there 5 minutes before the event so that she could get her picture taken. So, ooh, she's involved with the community, and there she is in the newspaper again. So she must have integrity, when actually she doesn't. When actually she's an airhead. When actually she's a piss poor example of a human being, because she has made promises to people and she hasn't kept them, and she has fluffed things off. So, but that's this person. But here's the thing, for those of us who had to work with her, and for those of us who was like, she's a dickhead. She's a dickhead. Sorry, but she's a dickhead. She pops up and says what she's going to do, and just like a dickhead, when she's done, down it goes, right? So that was her, and people learned to not give her any attention, and after on the third year around of some stuff, we were like, so who's in charge of this? What you call it? Lizzie is. Oh God. Well, we just might as well go ahead and start doing it, because she ain't going to get it done. And it would come about that we all would agree, and we would go ahead and do whatever what Lizzie was supposed to do. And sure enough, Lizzie had come in at the last moment and want her picture took. And when I look, I've been involved, and I tried to do this, and me and the kids, and we were here, and we're here now, and it's 10 minutes till opening, and now she's there for the accolades, so it's like, but we as a group knew who she was. We knew we couldn't trust her. We knew her she had no integrity. We knew what her integrity was. It was to play the game with the social folks, you know. And after a while, people just quit talking to her. I mean, they literally quit talking to her. They ignored her. She could come up and, oh, how's it going over there? And they would just keep painting or go on what they were doing. And so she created her own social injustice, if you will. But the promises that she made, she didn't keep, and in the long run, it paid a toll on her, to where some of her good girlfriends were just acquaintances instead of hanging out with her and going down and having a glass of wine, and they saw through what she was doing. That's a good thing. It's a good thing that people are aware enough to see through some of these other things. So whether you're a prayer warrior, or whether you're just helping out in the community, or whether you're just helping with your family, and you make an unconscious promise, like, man, I need to do better at this, or man, I need to quit hollering at the kids, or whatever that little I need to do better comment that you may make, then be conscious of it, and really try, in small increments, try to do better, because in the long run, that's what your spirit wants you to do. Your spirit wants you to do better, so you find out ways. But the first way to try how to do better in any way, shape, or form is to try to do better. Not just think about it. You have to actually act on it. You have to try to do better. Not just think about it, not just try to profess it and manifest it. No, you actually have to get up and do the act of trying. And when you try, when you actually get involved with things, and you take control back over of your circumstances, and you actually try it, action combined with intent. Yep. So, and I'm going through this lull last week or so. That was just it. Well, I need to do better. I need to walk more. So yeah, fine. So 6 hours later, I asked myself, Did you take that walk with Duggar? No. Well, it's raining outside, which it was. But did you take that walk with Duggar? No. Well, what were you waiting for? Well, I was going to take it, about this time in the evening, which in the evening is when I like to take a walk up the driveway. So that part wasn't a lie, and it was one hell of a thunderstorm the other day when it knocked out the power for this whole um, section of the county. It took them 3.5 hours. Something big must have blowed because there was 1,000 people down here that was out of power. But anyway, but my excuse was, well, it rained, and I was going to go for a walk with Duggar, and yeah, but so sitting here in the chair having a conversation with Hawkeye, Hawkeye says, but did you walk today like you promised, like you said you was going to do? Well, no. Then how many times you been to the kitchen? 3 times. How many times you been to the door to let the dog out? Twice. And you were going to go up the driveway? Yeah. Well, then get your ass up and walk to the kitchen and back. Go let the dog out. But it's raining. Well, pretend. Get up and go to the door. You promised to walk up the driveway. Yeah, okay. So, but in this conversation that I had the other day with myself, I realized that I had come up with excuses to not walk up the driveway. Well, I do hurt, and it did hurt. But the thing was, is I could have walked here in the house and made a couple extra steps, stood up a little bit, and just and done some exercises. Instead, I sat here in the chair. And then after I realized that I had sat here in the chair, I got all over him. I was like, damn, you stupid fool. You promised, Dave. You should have done. Yeah, but I did exercise here. Yeah, but you didn't get up. So the next day I was getting up and doing better and with action, with intent. But here's the biggest thing of all is that I realized that I had allowed myself to fall into this trap, a subconscious trap. Oh, and then when it was started raining, I was like, I was like, well, it's raining outside. We could have took a walk, and I was all elated because there was an excuse that God had given me to not walk because now there was a thunderstorm, and almost wishing for them to happen so that you wouldn't have to do something. Yeah. But the interesting thing about the camp counselor is that in this lull, it was happening subconsciously. And I was like, well, damn, Duggar, we was going to go for a walk. Crash, boom, rain outside. Oh, man, I'm so sorry we can't take a walk. Crash, boom, rain outside. What an excuse. And then, later on, it was like, man, you really wanted it to rain, didn't you? You really didn't want to walk up there, did you? You didn't really. So that's when the other side of my brain woke up and talked to the other side and said, see what you're doing? Well, no, I'm not really doing that. Am I? Yep, that's what you're doing. And it rained and that was your excuse and you got away with it. And boy, that was good. And you just like took a deep breath. I can sit here in the chair some more and not have to worry about it because it's raining outside. So it alleviated but you were going to take a walk. Yeah, I know, but it's raining. Yeah, but ha ha ha. So but when the other side of my brain really caught on and saw what my subconscious was kind of messing with me, I was like, oh man, that's this conversation for taking back, your own power. I was like, it had inadvertently lost it. Just wasn't thinking about it, wasn't paying any attention, but it was happening. And it was really happening. In other words, oh my God, I'm really making up excuses. Oh my God, I'm really avoiding this. Oh my God, I'm talking a good line, but I ain't doing it. Oh my God. And I was in that lull of prayer. And during that lull of prayer is when these conversations were going on in my head. And so when I woke up last Friday or Saturday, I mean, I was awake, but I mean, woke up to this idea. I was like, wow, dude, we really, and I really do want to go out and touch the canoe if that's all I can do. And even if it's sprinkling rain, I'm going to go out there and do it. Because, now I see how important it is to act on what I want. My intent is to get better. My intent is to kayak as soon as possible. So I got to act on it by at least going out there and touching the thing and getting the strength in my legs. And the only way I can do it is if I walk more. And this is a good excuse. And so all the stuff I talked about before. But so in the act of doing it, there is a self satisfaction. And for every time we act on that good intent, even as small and minute as it may be, when we act upon it and achieve it, we have achieved a self-aware accomplishment, a sense of accomplishment, and it bolsters self-esteem. It bolsters the brain into really wanting to achieve it. Well, I walked out there and touched the kayak today. Yeah, and tomorrow we're going to go and do it twice. We're going to do it once in the morning, and then we're going to do it once in the evening, unless it's raining. We're going to do it twice tomorrow. Okay, you know, and accept it and go with it. So I'm going to go out and touch the kayak twice, and now I'm going to do this. So make up your mind. But if you can make up your mind and not act on it. So making up your mind didn't. What did you make up? You made up your mind to pretend to act on it. You made up your mind to create an illusion that you were going to do it. Oh, how many times I've done that. And I've talked with other people and how many times they have done it. So when baby steps, absolutely. Even if you're used to walking, I realize that if I lengthen my stride, it hurts more. But if I walk in short, choppy steps, I'm setting up a pattern I don't want. So I take longer steps, but they're only half as long as my normal steps. But they're longer than these short little choppy steps that I was making. I was sort of doing the shuffle like, Tim Conway did on when he played that character on Carol Burnett, where he shuffled around and did the thing. And so and I don't want to be that character, so but as soon as I feel myself shuffling, I realize I have to take a bigger steps. I have to stop for a second and regain my composure, if you will, and take over the situation and take strides instead of shuffle. Now I do that. I mean, constantly walking around the house. I find, it's so easy to do this little shuffle to get there when no, I need to stop, stand up as straight as I can, and take steps. Uh, use use it or lose it every day. I'm shuffling. The mind is a percentage of the battle. It's a lot of the battle. I agree. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. No mama's gonna slow me down. Oh, oh, I've got to keep on moving. Yeah, yep, there you go, singing right along. Um, but, and I can look back on my life 3/4 not percent. Okay. Um, but I would say, yeah, I would agree with that, Michelle. But there are times, though, then that, you know, that the mind at times in certain circumstances is 90% of what needs to get done. Because if you don't make up your mind, oh, and I don't have my glasses on. And from here, it looks like percent. From here, it's all like, oh, yeah, that does. Now that you said 3/4, I can kind of pick out but anyway, that's my bad. But I would agree that in certain circumstances, the mind is really what's going to do it. Like when I was stuck in the woods down in the swamp, I knew how I could paddle, and I knew I could paddle especially in the deeper water. Um, but it was making up my mind to get in the damn canoe and to pick up the paddle and to actually do the paddle. And so there was 90% of convincing and and to do and to work through the stuff and the 10% of paddling and going, that was like the easy stuff. So, but I would absolutely agree that the mind has a lot to do with it. But on the simple things that we do, when we follow through on them, and I'm still using the kayak to go touch it, but the simple act of going out and doing it consistently and making sure that I do it and consciously working towards it, that's better than like, well, I need to go touch the canoe. Ho hum, maybe it'll rain, and you wish for rain instead of wishing you could go touch the canoe. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, or the kayak. So anyway, in life, you know, I can't make those decisions for you, but you need to honestly look at yourself and go, I've made a couple of little promises and I've been, I really haven't fulfilled anything. I haven't followed through on anything. And, you know, uh, maybe I should, maybe I should take a little more action in whatever it is that you have decided on. But in the long run, it will make you feel better in the long run, because you will have accomplished something, you will have achieved something, um, and you may have made a difference in someone else's life. So I love you all. It's been 3 hours and 31 minutes, and it's going on 4 o'clock. Yeah, I can't believe been here that long. But I haven't done a video in a while, and I've been in that lull spot when my intent was to actually do some videos, and then I didn't. I made excuses. Well, the lights were off for 3.5 hours the other day. Wait, that was yesterday, when I was going to get on and do a video. But anyway, so nobody knows but you. Yeah, it was a null lull. That's right. I was actually in the null zone. I was in the null quadrant, the empty set, you know. And so being in the empty set, the in the null zone, it still is something, even though it's nothing. And the primary example is the numeral 0. 0 has no value, but if 0 wasn't there, you wouldn't have a 1 or a -1, because there would be no starting point. So 0 has a value, although there's nothing of value in 0, in the number 0. But without the number 0, there wouldn't be any other numbers, because its value is in its placement of other numbers. So that's the null zone. It exists, but it doesn't. It has no value. Much development and growth happens in the stillness in between. Yep. Well, what is perceived as stillness? Michelle, sometimes things are growing when it appears to be still, but it's only our perception that it's still when to the plant it's growing. And I'm not trying to, argue with you, but, um, uh, growth happens in the stillness, you know, it's still from the person observing or whoever is the observer. And it's like, wow, it's really still. And plants are over there going doo just growing along, and having a good old happy time. But yep, yep, yep. Stasis only from one standpoint. Yep. So to whatever it's happening to, well, he sure is quiet over there, but his brain might be working like hell. That person over there sure is quiet, and but they're thinking about killing somebody or something, and versus they might be quiet over there, but they might not really be quiet. You know, so it's all the observe from the observer's point of view. Anyway, I wish you all a good Wednesday, and I wish you all a good rest of the week, and I'm hoping to come back on more often. And there's a conversation I want to have about the hermit and what it might mean to other people, and that spiritual promise if anybody ever makes one. And it's sort of similar to this, but not in this conversation. But anyway, I love you all, and I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many benefits and blessings from the universe. Yeah, Michelle, and I miss you guys too. But I needed that lull. I needed that null zone time because there was some healing going on in there, but there was a crap load of I I shouldn't use crap load, but there was a crap load of prayers during that time, and I do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. And there's going to be some cranky times. There just is. And the universe seems like it's trying to put some cranky times on us to try to push us one way or another, or to distract us, or to whatever. And as the good Lord always said, get a hold of your camp counselor. And as Michelle mentioned earlier, camp counselor, we need to honestly be the observer in some of these times right now and hold back our tempers. Be like the willow. Okay, I don't know about that, Michelle. Be like a tree. If you can't, be like a tree and leaf. No, that's not true. And anyway, be like the Ents, in Lord of the Rings. Um, but what we do need to do though is just keep our observations out and trust in the universe. Willow turns its back on inclement weather. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, we need to learn how to be strong and to take back our control of our situations. And simply by understanding, oh my God, I've lost control of the situation, is gaining control. The simple act of awareness is the first start, and it's a good start, and it's a healthy start. So don't be disappointed. Well, I just realized I was doing this. Good. Now keep it up. Don't lose that thought. Well, I just realized blah blah blah. Good. Good. Now fix it and work on it. And don't be embarrassed. Just fix it, because I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, 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 many blessings that come out of the universe. The willow turns its back, Paul McCartney song. Oh, really? What is chaos to the moth is order to the spider. Yep. And the moth can't help it that it's a I had candlelight last night, and those 5-hour candles don't last that long, so they last about 3. uh, oh, with a little luck, yeah, we can work it out. The whole damn thing, oh yeah, yep, Paul McCartney, yep. So it's almost a 4:20, and I can't wait any longer. And this bowl is really about dead. It's severely dying, and I'm going to add a crumble or two with gracious attitude, in that I've had the opportunity to be here this morning and hang out with y'all, and hoping that this will you know prompt folks to take control back of even sometimes the little things. So here's a 4:20 early, and an honest one. It's a little R2D2 is the flavor of the month. So be safe, my friends. We've had some severe um, weather here these last few days down here in the south. I mean, that thunderstorm that burst the television and everything in the house was just 2 weeks ago. And the thunderstorm we had yesterday morning was as severe as 2 weeks ago. And then last night at about 8:30, it started raining, and and then the lights went out. And I mean, it was a lot of thunder and lightning. I mean, not just a storm. I mean, it was boom, bam, boom, boom, bam. It was just one lightning after another, and the thunder. It just kept rolling. And so, we're supposed to have some more, afternoon showers like this, but holy mackerel, at the amount of lightning, they're not just, you know, rain showers in the evening but these things are like monstrous, you know, cannon rolling kind of thunder, holy mackerel, and blowing out lights and things, and, blowing up my house. And I'm so grateful Duggar sat between my legs here, this afternoon when the storm came through. It, you know, he was just a shaking, just from all of the noise and everything. So, but anyway, I love you all and stay safe. And if your lights go out, light a candle, calm down, be cool about it. You know, don't jump up and down in a tizzy, because the electric folks, the folks that work on the lines. I am a lineman for the county. Da da da, walk the main road. Glenn Campbell. Anyway, so applaud everybody. Yay, Glenn Campbell. Anyway, um, them folks are going to get you power as soon as they possibly can. And them folks are, battling weather and rain and electricity, to put you back in. So we need to give. If the lights go out, my first prayer went out, and I was like, oh God, because I've known my neighbor across the street. He worked for the EMC and retired from them, and he talked years ago about how when they got a call in the middle of the night and they had to go out and it was raining and storming, and how these guys would get up in the bucket and handle and put all the wires back together, and how brave these people are and were, and how much they had to put up with. And in the eye of, I say the eye of the storm is calm, but when they're at the worst weather, they're out there trying to put electricity back on, and they do. The fact that it took them 3 hours plus yesterday, something really must have been wrong. I'd love to find out, because it blackened a bunch of people. So don't freak out. Calm down. Go get yourself a glass of water or something, and drink it slow and light a candle, and they're working on it. They'll put it back up as soon as possible. And my prayers went out to whoever's got to work on these lines. May you be safe, and may the good Lord keep an eye on you and not fall off the ladder, or may it be simple. And it wasn't, but my prayer went out anyway. So send prayers out as soon as your lights go out, that they will be safe and put your stuff back on soon, you know, and that's the best that we can do under the circumstances. So don't fret, my friends. There are people out there who love us and work hard during storms and adverse conditions to keep our lights on. All right. I love you too, Michelle, and thank you. Yeah, I want to do a card drawing thing soon. Now that I'm out of this lull, I'm hoping that I will have the capacity to do it. And I'm not joking, and I do want to do it. Um, and my intent is good. So we'll see how it works out soon. So I love you all. Have a great Wednesday. Have a great rest of the day. And I will talk to you soon. And please be safe. And I do continue to pray for you all each and every day. And be thankful for what little you may have. And may the grace fall upon you. Until next time, cheers, everybody, and be safe.